Hello, Tvexam. Thank you for joining us from Sweden. We will be starting very momentarily. In fact, right now. Brenda, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. Good morning. Or afternoon.
Doing?
How are you?
Good, good. Yeah.
How are your cats doing?
Oh my goodness, they're amazing. Yeah. The
Awesome.
the one thing with them is, they have their particular spots now.
Right?
So if one tries to go in the other one's spot, things happen.
Oh no.
So we had to break up a few fights, but
Uh-oh.
but they're
And
awesome though.
did you drive to Arizona or did you
Yes,
fly?
it was
Oh,
actually an amazing drive. I loved it. Of
I
course,
like it.
I've
I like it when we go traveling because then you can see things, you know?
exactly, yes, yes. And there's like I think it's 140 miles where you're just driving almost straight as an arrow through the
Right.
desert, and there's little traffic, and it's just two little lanes going the same way,
Mm-hmm.
so it's easy breezy. And yeah, it was amazing. I loved it, and I can see doing that again, just not in the middle of summer.
Well, yes. And so how long did it take you to get there? Like, did it
um
take you a couple days or?
oh, no, no, no. It was just well, I guess technically it did, but we were chicken, and we purposefully divided it in half. So we
Okay.
went from Riverside to Blythe, California, which is right on the border of California and Arizona, or just a few miles off anyway.
Right.
So that was pretty much the halfway point. So it worked out well because it ended up being about 2.5 hours for the first leg and about 2.5 hours for the second leg. I wouldn't I would have been useless if I had to drive the whole 5 hours
Look, it would
morning
take
of
me
the type
two
in.
and a half hours. If it took me 2.5 hours or 5 hours, oh my God, it would take me 3 days to get out there
Oh,
because, we bring our camper. So we only drive maybe 6 hours at the most because it just gets too much.
okay.
So it would take us about 3 days and then,
Yeah.
3 days home. And you don't just want to go there and
Yeah.
take you 3 days to get there. And then you have to hurry up and come back.
Yeah.
So when my husband is retired, then I think we'll be able to do more of these things and stay. So
Yeah. That's kind of my dream is just driving around the country and like seeing the
yeah,
country. So
exactly. Exactly.
yeah. Speaking of driving, Mr. Larry is driving.
Uh-oh.
Be careful, Larry. Yeah, it's always new with you, Brenda.
Um, well,
Not too
my,
much?
everything's just like kind of, life is just kind of going crazy and I don't like it, but
Oh,
there's nothing I can do about it. So my one pug died in December. Okay.
oh,
And then my other pug died at the beginning of May out of nowhere. So I've been really having a hard time. Every time I think I can come on here, I don't want to, I don't want to talk about it and then start crying because I can't stop crying still, but it's better. So, but I will just not talk about that anymore. But
okay.
okay, so I found this um, Remington, I guess,
Ooh.
Remington Pioneer, and it has the telegraph typeface, which is basically it's not double Gothic, I guess. It's just all capitals.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? But when I first saw this, I thought, what is wrong with this thing? Looks like it's missing his jaw or something. He just looks like weird, like look at there's no front rail or front whatever you call it would be normally around the typewriter. Not
It,
there.
it looks like it's missing something.
But that's what it looks like. That's what it's supposed to be. And because I
Wow.
looked it up and I'm like, oh my God. So when I saw that on the shelf at the antique mall, I couldn't grab it fast enough. I thought, what is this? And then before I left
Yeah.
the store, I looked it up and I'm like, okay, it's supposed to look like this. And, you know, it's, it had, you know, because I don't remember what year this is. I don't remember, but on the key tops had this like reddish, I guess, whatever coating they put on them or whatever. I don't know what you call it. It turned like that orangish red color. It was really, it was, you could barely see some of the things, you could see the letters and some of them you couldn't. So I went and picked it all off. And
Yeah.
that was a
It
little
looks
bit
good.
scary. And then I just
Yeah.
just painted the keys with like a clear coat. And
Oh, okay.
it's fine. You know, it looks way better. And then you see my Hermes, my two little Hermes back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I bought one, the first one, and then I bought the second one to rob the parts off of it. But then that one worked, so then now I have two of them because I don't want to ruin them. You know, I don't want to ruin one because I'll go get it. The one is missing parts. So I thought, well, I got the second one for like $28 on eBay and it was a local thing. So I thought for $28, I'll just rip the parts apart. I don't even care. So this is the first one that I paid. I think I maybe only paid $80 for it on eBay. But see, it doesn't have his ribbon, the
Wow.
ribbon thingies, right? And then this
Yeah.
part right over here, see where the red line is? I don't know if you can see it. Anyways, I did my good old aluminum can in E6000, and I cut a piece out of the aluminum can, and I E6000 it on the top of this piece, so it works now. Because that's
Oh,
what
wow.
because I was going to steal that one off the other one, and I thought I can't do that. I have to it has to stay. So but it held it. It's holding it pretty good because if that part was broken, then you couldn't lock this, you know, you couldn't lock the carriage because that wasn't a one piece, it was broken. So anyway, so now I have two of them. I don't really want two of them, but I might have to, and what one of them is, you know, the typeface, one typeface is, they're different sizes. So, you know, that's, I guess, different, but I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but my husband does like them, so I guess we have matching typewriters now. But I have to show you my boyfriend's here. I got to find him. Chester, where are you, Chester? Well, I don't know if I can find him. Chester, Chester. Oh my gosh, where are you, Chester? Okay,
know where
there you are.
Chester
Come
is.
here. I gotta show you people. Come here, Hazel, put Murphy. Okay.
Oh my.
Sorry. Okay.
Oh.
Boyfriend. This is my boyfriend, Chester.
Oh.
Stop. Stop. He my dogs, you know, died. My friend, he needs me to watch his dog sometimes. And so they're like they're dogs for serious. They've really helped me. So I said, I'll take him this weekend. And so yeah, this is my boyfriend. The only kind of boyfriend I would ever want is a dog.
So cute.
Oh, I love him so much. So much.
Yeah.
So, and then the funny thing, or not funny thing, but the sad thing is also that his owner, which was one of my friends, she ended up dying. She died a couple years ago. So they, you know, they lost an owner, and then I lost my dog. So I'm kind of think we kind of help each other out a little bit. So
yeah,
but so that's why who I was watching the one week that I couldn't come on. Which actually, they're not in trouble. It's mine that's so loud, you know. But anyways, it's my baby. I just love him so much. So anyways, okay. He's adorable. I love him. And then I went up to the junk shop, which is not really junk, but that's what I call the antique stores because I just call them that. So anyways, here's my small little collection of my little tins that I have
Nice.
so far. And this one actually has the ribbon in it, but it's, it's not
Oh
good.
wow.
And then I like this one because it says St. Louis on it. But yeah, some of these are only like $3 and $4 each, and it's like, yes, I'll buy all of them. So I got
Yeah.
those, and then I have gotten a lot of typewriters, but I'm not going to take it the whole show today. And then I got this, the new rational
Oh, cool.
typewriting, which was there ever an irrational one? I mean, what does that even mean? But this is a really good book. It's really, I mean, it's really neat. And then on the inside the thingy were all these old from 19, what's it say, 23 or I don't know. Well, this is 1930, a test, test typing thing, test. And then check this out. Look at the graphics on there with the little drawings and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just so
Shorthand.
cool. Yeah, and then there's actually someone's writings, their actual writings in there, which is crazy. And then this is a type test from 1931. Another one from 31. And then I just like all of the, the 1931. And then I guess this is going to be me, California, here we come. I don't know what that is.
Nice.
But it was just full of these old papers in the book. So I had to grab it. And it's just really, really cool.
Wow.
I
Yeah,
noticed
pretty
that
awesome.
the first page you showed was had a shorthand written in it.
Yeah. Let me find it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be something if you could read that?
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I had found a shorthand book at the antique mall and I didn't get it. And now I wish I would have, because then the backside, it's, I guess this is all the stuff you're supposed to practice. But yeah, it's really, really cool. So I had to grab that. Okay, now I'm done.
Oh, yeah.
I'm done.
Excellent. Excellent.
So I missed all you guys, and hopefully
Yeah.
I like that you're doing it like every other week, because
Yeah.
anyways, it's good. So, but
Very cool. Well, it is so good to see you.
it's good to see you guys too.
Yeah. And I hope your heart continues to heal, because I know what that's like. So.
It's hard. Yeah, it's been hard, but
Oh yeah.
I'm trying. Thank you.
Yeah, no. You're welcome. All right. Larry's still driving, so we'll let him stay the course. Hi, Larry. Ted, how are you doing?
Jump right to me, huh?
Sure.
Well, I'm doing fine. How are you?
Good. I'm still in my afterglow from the type in.
Me too. Me too. Nice type in a week ago.
Oh man, that was wonderful.
A week ago. It was excellent to
Yeah.
see you.
Yeah, you too.
And your wife, your lovely wife.
Yes, yes. You know what? I felt so bad because I was in such awe of the whole thing that I think I failed to introduce her to like half the people, and I feel so bad. It's like, oh my goodness, what a horrible husband.
You also didn't bring out your typewriter, your little Olympia.
Oh yeah.
Totally would have made
Yeah.
room for it.
I know. And you know what? I've been typing a lot on it lately, so it's such a good little typewriter. I love it. Yeah. Yeah. Next time I will say, hey Ted, move over.
I'll hold you to it. Now you're frozen.
Oh yeah. I'm having a bad internet connection. I'm not even sure why. We have the fiber, yeah. So I don't know. But yes, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, just as I said.
Oh yes. Yeah, I'm like off in La La Land or something.
Yeah.
What's with the clock there?
Oh,
Is that a new acquisition?
I was thinking when I did the time lapse at the type in, I was thinking I really
Oh.
should have had a little clock like sitting in the corner of the frame so you can see the hours
Oh,
go by. And
yeah.
then I thought about, oh well, what kind of clock could I do that with? And I thought, oh, what used to like everyone used to have one of these, but you never see anymore is these mechanical travel alarm clock things from like West Clocks, and like sure a bunch of different companies made them. But I was like, well, now I want one of those. And so I went to a thrift store, and like the first one I went to, I found one. So
Oh,
they're in the thrift stores, but you can imagine that they haven't really been made
oh man,
since
my
probably
connection
the
is horrible.
80s, since digital clocks kind of ate their lunch. But I just thought that was fun. It's like, now I have a little mechanical alarm clock that I can put in the lower corner of my time lapses. And so, kind of,
Yeah.
that we're interested in things that, don't really exist anymore. And,
Yeah.
finding uses for them. So
Is what we do.
that's kind of where I was going with that.
And of course, an analog clock is much easier to read in
Oh.
a time lapse than a digital.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. So,
Yeah, Monica's one too.
yeah. So, yeah, if it's something I never thought about like collecting. I probably won't collect them, but it's nice having one because it's like, I don't know, just kind of a little thing you can take traveling with you and not have to worry about your alarm if you're going to set an alarm.
It's
Of course,
simpler.
these days people have smartphones to set alarms on.
Yeah, but suppose your battery dies.
Yeah. Smartphones are dumb.
So, anyway, I don't know. Maybe there's something I was thinking about. And yeah, we had a great type in, and lots of people showed up. It was very successful. I managed to not take any more typewriters home than I came with. It was a success. Met a lot of new people. Yeah, so I think we're going to start doing them again, and I'll have them every so often, probably twice a year if we're lucky.
Cool.
But yeah, so that's the news from Lake Wobegon. Uh-oh, is Gregory? Oh, Gregory's gone. I don't see him
He
anymore.
said he was gonna switch to his phone.
All right, well, I'm going to pass it on to the next
What
person.
stapler is that on your desk, Ted?
That's a swing line 27.
Uh-huh. I found a little cub, a swing line cub. This week.
Uh-huh.
Very cute, black. But it takes special cub staples, right?
Yeah, the number 10s. The
It takes the same as the top?
yeah, it is a tot. The swing line version of the tot. Well, let me tell you, I think you got one. Yeah, see, this is like the 1940s version of the tot.
Yeah, I have one of those.
Yeah, and so, but that kind of morphed into the red plastic one that's pocket sized. They share the same name and the same model designation, but they're
Yeah, but what I got was a cub. It is black and it came in red and blue and turquoise and a lot of different colors. It's metal.
okay.
It came out in 1960
Okay.
originally, according to the stapler expert.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it takes cub staples. It's the little boxes that I saw online show the word cub, and they're a little bit wider, I think, than a standard staple.
Oh, so they're okay. That's weird.
Yeah, they are weird.
Yeah.
But this one had staples in it, fortunately.
Oh,
So
that's good. You can
so
figure them out.
And of
And
course,
if to ration your staples, make sure it's really worth it.
yeah, well, I have so many now, so many vintage staplers that I really didn't, I only got it because it was one I didn't have, so.
Yeah. You end up with a lot of staplers you don't have staples for, which is kind of a weird situation, but
Well, like I said, this one did have a staples in it, so that was good. But that's the only thing that I bought this week. I refrained from buying any more typewriters.
yeah.
So the Cub, is that a handheld machine
Yeah,
curved on both sides and the loop so you can hang it on a chain from your belt, whatever?
no, it's definitely, it's smaller than the large, than a, I don't know. I'll get it in a minute and show you guys what it looks like.
Okay.
It's smaller, it's bigger than a tot, but smaller than a standard swing line stapler.
So it was the the SUV of staplers then.
Uh-huh. Exactly. Exactly. Exactly right, William.
Excellent. So I am on my phone now. So
I guess I can do the typing prompt. But,
oh yes, please do. Please do.
well, I prefer narrow margins because I scan a lot of my stuff for blog posts. I like to see like the details of the type, have it be large enough to be able to see the details. So a lot of times I type up on these little 3.5 by 5.5 inch sheets, which of course are the EDCN size, and I use an Elite typewriter. And when I scan them and post them in my blog, they show up as a nice, readable column with type large enough that you can see the like nooks and crannies of the type, which is something I really like. So yeah, I like narrow margins for those reasons.
Nice, nice. Very cool. Now, so there's the difference between your blog posts and letters, and I suppose typeface, right? As far as well, for example, if you're writing in Courier, does that affect your choice of margin size? I mean, not
okay.
Courier. Sorry.
Yeah, I guess
Thrift.
with letter writing, it's different because I try to use a pica or larger typeface usually, and I write on a regular 8.5 by 11 sheet, and the columns go all the way across. So yeah, I guess I have a different attitude when it comes to letter writing versus blog posting.
Okay.
But at the same time, if I have addendums to letters, I usually write them on these little sheets and then like glue them to the thing so that, they get kind of, so I go back to my narrow margins at that point.
Yes, yes. You kind of have to because you use some very small paper.
Well, that's kind of what I like, you can, it's interesting to me that you can type on small paper with a typewriter. And what you end up getting is kind of, it's might be like a mattress tag size or something. That it's interesting to me to have typewritten stuff on a small sheet like that. It's texturally interesting, and I'll usually use like an airmail sheet, something with a very lightweight paper, almost tissue paper.
Yeah.
Or like I have these Post-it notes that are like onion skin, like a clear, like it's not quite plastic, it's more like a Tyvek material. And so I'll type on those, and interesting little pieces of paper that I find I like to type on. So
yes,
I normally like very narrow margins, but for letters I usually go with the wide all the way. And I end up running off the edge of the page all the time. So I have this nice margin on the left side, and then run right up to the edge of the paper on the right side.
Yeah.
Kind of cram it in there.
Yes. And by the way, I did get the episode 9 So I was finally able to open the little the extra one that you handed to me at the type in.
Oh yeah,
It was hard to wait. So
Well, I appreciate your patience.
yeah,
It would only make sense if you had read the first thing first. So
exactly, yes. But you know what? When Ted Monk tells you to obey and not open something, you obey and don't open something.
obey,
Yes.
obey, like Andre the Giant. Obey.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Speaking of Andre the Giant, that typewriter. Oh man.
That's a piece of work.
Yeah. Yeah. That thing is amazing. My goodness.
I've gotten a lot of response about the pictures and the video and everything with Andre the Giant. I have had a couple of people message me and ask me about him and the accessories. The accessories were a big hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had somebody yesterday ask me where in the world did I get the copy stand, because they would like one. And so that was funny.
Those have to be very hard to find, though.
There's one currently on eBay. They're asking quite a bit of money for it. That company is defunct. It's no longer in business. That particular office supply company that made those back in the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, but he was fun to take. Everybody really liked him.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. That is very cool. Yeah. Unfortunately, my computer is still saying the connection is unstable, but at least I'm on my phone, but I haven't used the Zoom on my phone in ages. So as far as making people big and stuff like that, it's going to be challenging. So, so forgive me for that, but at least we're still connected. So that's good. Yes. But Susan, it was so wonderful to see you at the Type In.
Oh, I know. It was great to see everybody, of course, and great to meet you and your lovely wife. I enjoyed that very much.
Did I introduce her?
Yes.
Okay.
I met her right when y'all first walked in. And
Oh, yes, yes.
you introduced her to me and to my husband also.
Very good, very good.
Yeah, we had a wonderful time. Brian did such a great job.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I was so impressed with how many people that were new to typewriters, like they had just found a family typewriter or they had stored a family typewriter and they brought that. I was so fascinated by how many of those people were there. And it was so fun talking to them. And, I really enjoyed that part a lot. Aside from the other collectors that there are in Phoenix, which obviously there's some good collectors in that area, but it was fun to just talk to people who really didn't know what they had or they were curious. And I always loved that part. So
yeah. And it was fun meeting Darwin too.
Oh, I know. He had the best darn time. He called me yesterday to tell me for the 100th time what a great time he had and how amazed he is at the things that are going on in the typosphere. I'm telling you, he lives in his own little world and he doesn't, while he talks, certainly he does talk to typewriter collectors, he's totally unaware of how big the typosphere really is. And like yesterday, he said to me, well, I couldn't believe that you brought a ribbon tin. And he said, I have a whole big box of ribbon tins. And I didn't even know they were worth anything. And I said, well, they could be. You'd have to go through them, but there are actually people who that's what their major collection is, the ribbon tins.
Yeah.
So really, he enjoyed himself so much. He loves when he goes to Phoenix, he tries to see Bill Wall every time. And so he really enjoyed seeing him again. And Ted, he's had, interaction with Ted before. He knows Ted. He buys feet from Ted. So, yeah.
So, Susan, you were talking about people collecting ribbon tins. I came across a ribbon tin collector on eBay several years ago.
Uh-huh.
And I asked him if he still has the ribbons that came from the tins. He said, "Oh, they're in the box. I'm gonna junk them, gonna trash them." I said, "Well, before you trash them, put them in boxes of 100 and list them on eBay." Where he had 3 boxes of 100. I bought one. 2 other people bought the others, and they were gone like within 5 days. He said, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, Darwin has an eBay shop, and I try and tell him when it seems like he's completely unaware of what things are selling for, because he doesn't even look. I mean, he knows what he wants to sell, the typewriters he refurbishes for, but things like I told him about the Hermes branded metal spools. One Hermes spool is averaging on eBay and selling for $50.
Yep.
And he said, well, I had no idea that was worth anything. I said, oh yes, that's worth something. So if somebody asks you if you have any, you need to know what it's going for, and then you can negotiate a price with that person. Don't be just giving this stuff away, my friend.
Kind of along the same line as a cold steel typewriter. If it still has both original spools, it's worth twice the value.
I know. I bought a typewriter once that had it wasn't a cold steel. It was an Underwood, I think, and it had a cold steel branded ribbon spool on it. And I ended up trading it to a typewriter guy, Charlie Justice, and he traded me like 20 ribbons, typewriter ribbons, colored typewriter ribbons for me for the one ribbon spool, because he had a cold steel and he had one cold steel ribbon spool, but not the other one. And I said, okay, well, I'll trade, because I don't have a cold steel typewriter. Chance of me ever finding one is slim.
I bought a dozen or so colored ribbons from Charles a few years ago. They're still printing great.
I know. He had some great colors too. He gets really good.
Purple over orange, blue over green.
The blue is really a pretty blue. It's not the usual blue. So so Darwin had the best darn time. I mean, we all had a wonderful time. Nobody had a better time than me, I'm sure, but he had a wonderful time. He was so glad he came.
Nice.
And I was glad that he came to get out and see some new people and see what's going on in the world that he loves so much,
Exactly. The next step is to get him on here.
Oh yeah, I don't know. He's kind of shy.
I know.
But it's funny. He brought me some typewriters to bring back to Texas that he had already repaired. And then I brought him one of my typewriters and some typewriters for some other people to repair. And like Wednesday, he sends me a picture of my Hermes 2000 already redone, rebuilt, touched up paint. Everything is perfect. And he says, okay, well, guess whose Hermes 2000 is finished? I said, that is the quickest repair I've ever seen. Well, it's for you. I was okay, well, great. So he had a great time, and he's amazing. I mean, it's amazing to me that he flies an airplane. He has his own private plane, and he flies his own private plane down to Phoenix. So
why didn't he let you go with him? That's what I want to know.
Well, he's in Colorado and I'm in Texas. So I have to find a halfway point to meet him or something.
Okay. I thought he was by you. Okay.
No, he's in Colorado and I'm in Texas. And we spent 2 days, Brenda, traveling to this side.
I know. It's going to take me 3.
We spent the first night in Albuquerque, and then we arrived earlier in the day than we thought, because we didn't realize that Phoenix doesn't have daylight savings time. And so
Yep. I had to call Joe
an hour earlier than
when we were, because we were coming from the other way. So we were going through all these time changes. We get to Albuquerque, and we were going to meet Joe for dinner. And he said 3:00, and I get off the phone. John goes, well, what time is it? I'm like, I better call him back, because I have no idea what time it was because of the time changes. I'm like, oh my God. So it's crazy.
But it was a nice drive. We enjoyed it. We luckily I'm married to a Texan who loves to drive. His joy is to go. I mean, anytime I say, "Oh, let's go somewhere," okay, let's go somewhere. Where are we going to go? Where are we going to drive to? Texans love to drive, and so that works out perfectly. So,
Yeah.
but we had an awesome time, and of course, Darwin brought Ron his Groma Colibri.
Oh.
That was David Torres had gifted Ron my husband a Groma Colibri typewriter. It's he has wanted a Groma Colibri for the longest time. And of course, I'm too cheap to pay a lot of money for a typewriter. So David Torres gifted him the Groma Colibri, but then we had to pay to have it fixed because the drawband was broken, the mainspring was broken, apparently. But it was still cheaper to have Darwin fix it than to buy one.
Yeah.
And it's a QWERTY. So it's beautiful. It's black with brown keys. And
Nice.
he loves that typewriter. And just a year ago, he wasn't even really a typewriter person.
Wow. That's very cool. Very cool. Were there any typewriters that you were excited to use there at the
Oh,
typewriter?
yes. Okay, so I'm now interested in finding a Triumph like Ted's. And I definitely want a vertical script Smith Corona. Joe's vertical script Smith Corona typed so great. And it was such a lovely typeface. I really want one of those.
There was one on eBay the other day. I have to find it. They were listing it for $695.
Okay, see,
and plus whatever shipped. I can't do it. Somebody got it though.
I can't.
I offered them $200, and I thought, well, all they can do is say no. And then later on, it said it sold, but it didn't say what it sold for. So that's crazy. Plus, you had plus shipping, whatever the shipping was. I'm
Yeah,
like, oh
right
my
now
God.
the typewriters are just so expensive unless you
Terrible.
look out. I've been really lucky and I found some really great ones this year, but they're so expensive.
Yep.
People are, even for the Brothers and the Silver Seikos, those prices have gone up immensely in my area, even for those. Not that I'm looking for one, I'm not, because I already have a Webster.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
If someone were to make an upright script Selectric type ball, would you still want to have an upright script Smith Corona?
I might, because Joe's
Yes.
typed so nicely.
Okay.
So I
I'm-
like
I'm
the
pre-
type feel of that particular machine. Now, Joe already has said to me that it's possible that in the future, that machine will be available for sale.
Oh yeah, he rotates his machines quite a lot. So
we'll see. But I really liked the type feel of that one. But I will say that I am loving my Vogue and my Spencerian type element for my
Yep.
Selectric. I've been using this Electric a lot, and I've really enjoyed writing with those two typefaces because I don't like Royals, so those are two Royal typefaces.
Well,
So-
Spencerian script also comes on Brothers.
Oh, yeah, because they're related, right?
Yeah. Well, there was a point in time where somehow Brother managed to get rights to some of Royal's type slug manufacturing, and so they had the Executive Royal. And they
Yeah,
had-
and the Executive typeface
Yeah.
is one that I really like also.
Yeah,
See,
so
he could
they
do
had
a
a-
type element with that. That would be cool.
Mhm. They for a short while, Montgomery Ward was able to get Royal typefaces onto Brothers, and so you'll find them on there. So you'll see Spencerian script on Brothers all the time. So, but the Royal Executive is a little rarer.
I found a Montgomery Ward machine on eBay with the Royal Executive typeface. The guy wouldn't ship it to me.
No.
Even though I said I'll pay if you go take it to somebody else to pack it up for me, like to a UPS store or whatever,
Mhm.
but he wouldn't do it. So I
Well, hey,
never
guess
think-
what? I bet you're not ever going to have to either, because Royal Executive Richard Polt made that into a TTF font, and because he did that, it'll be pretty easy for Dave to or someone else to map that onto the type ball and manufacture Royal Executive type balls.
Oh,
I think that would be very cool. And I'm very excited about this whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really expecting within the next year or so for, people to start putting all the, not Verityper, but Hammond type shuttle
Mhm.
fonts onto Selectric type balls. And I really, really wish someone would start making composer type balls with the proportional type fonts, and then you could put all the Verityper fonts on there. That's kind of where, if I'm dreaming, the guy's got a dream, that's where my dreams are headed.
What about the correctosphere that brother makes? Those use the same, they just use a type ball also, but they're different size. You think that guy will ever make them for that machine?
Well,
Because I have one of those.
Yeah, someone would have to, because
Use
it's
the
a
ball.
different, because the ball is constructed differently, it's a different size,
Right.
has different specs, that someone would have to map all that out and do a 3D rendering of it.
Yeah,
And I kind of think with, typewriters like that, there's not a whole lot of people that love them. There's not a huge market for type balls for someone to spend, 6 months
right.
3D mapping a type ball for it. But, that's the thing, is we might not be able to imagine it now, but 5 years in the future, who knows?
Yeah.
Uh-oh, recording stopped.
Uh-oh, what's that mean? Uh-oh.
don't worry. I'm
Uh-oh.
trying to get my computer working again.
Well, the nice thing is that Dave also has made his information about how to construct the actual type ball available to everyone, apparently.
Yeah. In
So
the
other people, other than he, could also go into business of creating type elements and selling them if they wanted to.
yeah, it wouldn't be hard, because he also tells us what printer he uses. He tells us what brand printer, 3D printer he uses, and those are like less than $200. The 3D printer that he uses, it's apparently a very cheap resin printer.
Yeah, he said he bought one of the most inexpensive ones you could get.
Yeah, so I mean, the barrier to entry is not very high.
But yeah, he's amazing. It's amazing that he brought that to fruition,
Yeah. So I'm buying all his balls, and I know you are.
Oh yeah, he had emailed me Monday and told me that he was going to be on a different platform
Yeah.
and gave me the information and said, "Boy, I hope I'm not going to be spending my whole weekend packaging up type elements." And he was
I say, yeah, he is.
And I said, "You know you are."
I don't think he announced it or anything, but I think everybody who knows about it has been refreshing.
But for a few
website.
weeks anyway, you're gonna, until everybody gets their order in,
Yeah.
that's what you're gonna be doing. But he wanted to recoup his investment in the 3D printer and all of that, and
Mhm.
then his plan is, and I don't know if you've looked at his posts on the golf ball typewriter shop, but his plan is that he's going to rebuild Selectrics and sell them.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, that's his dream. But I think this whole Selectric type ball thing that he's got going is going to be his main business if he really concentrates on
I
it.
know he really enjoys redoing the Selectrics.
Yeah, well, you can
But
do
he's
that.
a really great guy.
Mhm.
Great guy.
Now, I have to say, I think he's to be profitable. I think he's going to have to raise his price, because $10 and the way
You'd be surprised though, because his investment in the resin is very low. That resin is not that expensive apparently.
Mhm.
So he's maybe manufacturing them for 50 cents.
That's true, but first of all, they take a long time. The 3D printing is slow, And second of all, there's always cleanup that you have to do on the print. So I don't know. I don't see $10 being all that profitable.
That's
I
what I
could be wrong.
thought. That's kind
Yeah.
of what I thought, because especially with the first run of balls, there were some troubles with it, and there were like things off of the teeth sometimes.
Mm.
And I said, he's going to have to do some hand finishing on these, and it's going to cost more, I'm sure. But he didn't. His prices are exactly the same.
Wow.
Some of them are $8, some are $10.
Oh, wow.
It's like man, $10 is great. $8.
That's insane.
I told him that he needs to sell those clips too. Not necessarily, if you buy type ball, you should get a clip, but if you just needed some of those clips,
Yeah, like a 10-pack of clips.
yeah, he should sell them, because people all the time are asking about what happens when your type element hinge breaks.
Mm-hmm.
And those clips will work on a broken, any
Yep.
type element. It doesn't have to be a 3D printed one. It will work on any one. So I told him that too. I
Yeah.
still haven't used his clip, so I used my old clip,
Susan,
my first generation.
Susan.
Hmm.
Is this the type you're looking after? Looking for?
No,
No?
I don't
It is
think
upright script.
Yeah.
that's an upright script. Yes.
Vertical script.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Are you selling a typewriter, William?
On this machine.
Yeah, I know, on a Smith Corona.
Yep. I bought this one for the color because I wanted to get a set of all the colors. The fact that I had vertical script was a bonus when I unpacked it.
Yeah,
think I
that is a
paid-
big bonus. A lot of people don't realize that the typeface is even important when they're selling a typewriter.
I know.
They're shocked when you say, can you type a few letters for me so I can see what that looks like?
Yeah.
On Facebook Marketplace, I run into that all the time.
Either that or take a close-up of the type slugs themselves.
Uh-huh, and send me the picture or post the
Yeah, why
picture.
don't they put that on their listings? I don't understand that. I guess
Because
they
people-
just.
Because they don't
it's just a
realize it's
typewriter.
important. They have no
Yeah.
idea that it's important.
Yeah.
People who are not typewriter people find these items, and then they do a Google Lens, and they see that
Right.
it's listed on eBay for this amount of money, and so they buy it for whatever the price is. And then they list it, and they think that all they need to do is show 5 pictures of the case and 1 picture of the typewriter.
Right.
It's very, I mean, I agree, but it's because these people just really don't know that what's important to a person who might be interested in purchasing it.
And then when they put the typewriter in the case upside down, like in the lid, I'm just like, these dingos, if I see this one more time, I'm gonna lose it. I am not gonna buy a typewriter from you when you're putting it in the case upside down. What is wrong with these people? And then you're probably gonna ship it like that too, and then I'm gonna get a mangled mess. I'm like, oh my God, I can't even understand.
Well, I don't,
But like you said, they find these things, and the one dude on there's got an Olympia, I think, 3 or whatever, the older one with the script
Yeah,
on it,
SM3.
and with the script on it, right? But it was a blurry picture, and I said, can you send me a non-blurry picture of the typeface? Well, I'm shaky. I said, well, do you have anyone else that can take the picture? Because I want to see what it looks like. He thinks he's going to get $1,500 for this typewriter. And I'm like, I've never paid over $100 for a script typewriter. So whatever. He did put another picture up, and it's like, take down the blurry one. You can't see anything. Why would you even post a blurry picture? I don't understand. It drives me crazy.
oh, I know. I mean, we found in the wild a double Gothic Olympia, and we knew it was going to be probably a good typeface because it had a 1 key, but there's no picture of the typeface. So I texted the young man and I said, can you take a picture of the print? Can you type something for me so I can see what it is? And my husband just laughingly said, with your luck, it's probably going to be double Gothic. So he sends me back a picture and it's only capital letters. And I said, I texted him back and I said, can you please do some of the lowercase letters too? And he said, well, they're all like that. And I said, well, let me see. So he did. And sure enough, it's a double Gothic. And I said, well, what do you have to have for it? And he said, I have to have $40. And I said, well, I'll pay you 60. Because it's worth more than $40 to me.
Right.
And so I still stole it from him, but I mean, I went, but, people don't realize what is important, and different collectors, different things are important.
Right.
So, sometimes they focus on the color. Oh, it's a blue one, it's a green one, it's a red one, and sometimes you have to say, well, for me, the typeface is important. What does that look like? What does the typeface look like?
The reason why I was looking for the desert sand is I got a hold of one of those, I think 10 by 14 prints of the Smith Corner advert, or the little boy standing in front of the typewriter store window. And I wanted to recreate that scene, except for the boy, as a display piece for the local bench show in the fair days. I still haven't done it, but I now have all the typewriters.
Well, one of the typewriters, Brenda, that I took to the type-in was a Fawcett 1620, and it actually goes in the case what you think is upside down.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
it does.
Yes.
Okay.
And so when we went to get it, we went to pick it up at the estate sale. My husband said, I can't get this typewriter in the case, because he was trying to put it in the normal, what we think of as the normal way. And of course it didn't fit. And I said, honey, I think this is wrong. I think it goes this way. And he said, well, but you always tell me, no, that's not the right way. I said, well, this time I think it goes this way. And sure enough, it goes with it has little clips in the deeper section where the front of the typewriter clips in. And it opens up just like a little suitcase. But it's very counterintuitive if you've been doing other typewriters.
Right.
The Fawcett TP2 is the same way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know about the TP1 because I don't have one.
I think Brian had a TP1.
Mm-hmm.
I think so, yeah.
They're nice.
Very cool.
So can I say hi to Monica?
Yeah, she's actually next. I think we've seen Monica before. Is that right, Monica?
Yeah, this is like my fourth time in maybe 2 years.
Okay.
I'm not the most regular, but I'm East Coast, so sometimes it's just like smack in the middle of my day. So
Yeah.
But I do have some updates, which are great for my typewriter world. We hosted our first type-in 2 weeks ago.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, in our area. So like 2 months ago, we did a lunch and learn at our local senior center. And so that wasn't much of a type-in, but it was more like a show and tell kind of thing. But we did meet one local person in our area who collects typewriters as well. And so I said, we're looking to do a type-in and we're just not quite sure where. I've contacted some parks and some libraries. So the library contacted me and said, this sounds great. Can we do it at the library? Well, we went to our very first type-in in Cincinnati at Memorial Day weekend just to see what they were like. And, there was like some selling and trading and whatnot. So as I was describing it to the librarian, she was like, well, that goes against our rules. And I'm like, Okay. And there was also some typewriter repair people there. There was like a local business that came in, and she said that's against our rules too. Like nobody can be, like, oh great, this is not going to be good at all. But whatever, foot in the door. We're just going to see how it goes. We had 111 people.
Oh my.
Wow.
She had,
Yay!
yeah, it was great. She had a counter that she did for her own library purposes. And then before we got home, she had an email in my inbox that said this was her best attended event ever. And she was no
Oh, wow.
freaking. So yeah, it was great. It was like a 2-hour open house style event. And the local collector who we had met previously, he saw about it because when we went to Cincinnati, we met Richard Polt, and he posted it, our event, on his Instagram and also on his webpage, which was fantastic because 2 people there were there because they saw that. And so we met 2 other typewriter people. One, which is so weird, we live outside of DC, but I have family in the Boston area. So our quote unquote typewriter guy is Tom Furrier in the Boston area. Everyone knows him. And so, when you explain to people that, like, as a typewriter collector, I don't know the first thing about repairing it. I can barely clean them, and when you guys talk about all of the pieces and parts, that's not in my wheelhouse yet. I'll get there, but so I was explaining to the 2 typewriter people that we met about my Boston connection. And this guy was like, oh yeah, I live in Vermont, but I'm visiting this area because my daughter had a baby and we're here to help. But I love Tom. I drop into his shop and beg him to work in his back room. So it was just interesting to actually hear and see people that have the same sort of bug we do. And one of them, the third guy, he actually contacted us after. We have one standard. All of ours are portables or ultra portables. We have one standard, and he said, can I borrow it because I'm working on one and I want to see what one looks like that's been properly worked on. So we just did that exchange this week. So we really feel a little bit more connected and not like sort of adrift in this typewriter world now. Yeah, it was cool. Oh, and like some people actually brought their typewriter from home or their grandma's attic or whatever. And this one man rolls in and he's like, I'm donating this. I'm like, oh, and he opens it up and it says bright red. It looks mint. Royal Quiet Deluxe.
Oh, wow.
Red, oh my. Cherry
Right.
red.
Well, I thought 2 people there it was a very, there was so much going on. My husband was like talking to this one person who thought he thought that child wanted that machine, which we were like, fine, just take it. Anybody who wants it can take it. We thought there'd be a big fight over it. And then another lady said, oh, I heard you're giving this away. And then at the end of the day, no one took it. So it was me and my husband, and then the 2 typewriter guys that were left looking at it. And we were like, just in complete awe that he would give this thing away. And we started typing on it and speaking about typeface. They were like, let's just see if it's a Vogue. Well, it wasn't, but it wasn't a normal, like quote unquote normal typeface either. So we had to search, and I finally found somebody on the typewriter database that had their typeface sample showing. And so it's Canterbury Elite. So it's pretty cool. That's all I got, but I feel like I had a pretty big month in type-in world.
So who ended up with the machine?
Well, nobody yet. So we figure at our next event, we'll take it. So the one that we went to in Cincinnati, we took a lot of typewriters. We weren't sure how these things worked and, what was going to happen. So we ended up putting out a lot of ours, and we sold one, a Zephyr, to just somebody who was attending, and gave the proceeds to the museum. It was hosted at a museum, a type and print museum. And then we had 2 others that we were going to sell, and they they didn't sell, so we just donated those to the museum. And actually I saw Richard Polt had a Gaussian Tippa pilot there that was amazing. And that's pretty much the last typewriter. Okay, when I say this, you know, there'll be another one, but it's the last one that I want right now. And I can't find it, or I can't find it that's affordable. So it's what I'm on the lookout for. Yeah.
Excellent. That's
Yeah.
very
So
exciting.
we don't, yeah. So I figure the next type in we go to, you know, we'll bring in and we'll see if somebody wants to, you know, we can donate it to somebody. Or I was so shocked that the two people that we had seen that had interest in it, that they didn't end up taking it. And I'm not quite sure why. Maybe they needed to be encouraged to take it a little more, but yeah.
Interesting.
Well, if I was there, I would have taken it. So that
Yeah.
makes me feel better,
Right,
okay?
right.
I would have taken it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So are there thoughts of another type in?
Definitely. And I don't know if the library, the library was very well attended and they did a lot of promoting themselves. And also I think a lot of people attended because the librarian contact stood at the door with her counter and she ushered people in. So we got a fair amount of people that were there just because they were at the library. But I would like to have one more like the one that I attended in Ohio, where it was more free to have people attend and sell and buy and trade and businesses, repair people attend and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we will. I don't know where. I would love to do one at a library again, because that was definitely fun. A lot of kids there who were fascinated with it. A lot of questions like, where's the one, and how do you hit where's return, and all that sort of thing.
Yeah. Excellent.
Tell you one thing, if you can find a bookstore that has a bar built into it.
Yeah, I would love that.
Their logo.
Sell my house and go
Excellent.
into that business.
I think that the most amusing thing I heard from a type-in with kids was one of the kids saying, how do you save this now?
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
Well, you move this lever, pull the paper out, there, it's saved.
Put it in a folder.
Exactly.
Oh, that's funny. Now, is there anything you would do differently next time?
I don't know. Like, we brought a couple electrics, and the plug situation wasn't ideal. We did bring extension cords, but it was just dangerous. So we ended up just putting those away. It was indoors. The first one that we went to was outdoors. We brought water. Nobody drank water. I don't know. We brought the vintage ads and a few books. I would really like to just have a couple more, like, people, typewriter repair people and typewriter businesses. Well, actually, I would like to have my own business and my own website set up so that there were a couple of people who were like, what if we want to contact you? And I'm like, I'm not set up for that yet. We've applied for a business license. I have a web domain reserved, but I don't have a website set, and I have somebody working on a logo, but we don't have any contact information. So I might like to get that up and running, because I wouldn't mind lending typewriters out, or I don't know, or contacting people afterwards for the questions that they had, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could definitely get the custom email going, before the website. So
You say that, but I'm not. I'm somehow I'm just not that savvy. I do have it. Yeah, I need to look that up.
Yeah. You said you already have the domain. I don't know who you have it through.
GoDaddy.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So you can just actually buy an email account through GoDaddy and get that going, and then and they have super cheap plans, that have small storage, so you could start small and work up to a bigger account. It's possible. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me put that on my to-do list there.
yes. Very cool. Now, and sorry if I missed it, but do you have an estimate of how many typewriters there were?
Well, I think we brought 32. So like we take the 2 electrics out. There was 30, and then there was plenty of room. We had asked them for 8 to 10 tables, those big folding rectangle tables to be set up. And like for the lunch and learn, this is the one thing we did do differently. We put too many typewriters on the tables, and then when the carriages go and people are too close together, so we spaced them out, but there was plenty of room for people to when they brought their typewriters. So I would say 5 people brought typewriters. The librarian brought her typewriter.
Oh, cool.
And the man, like the 2 collectors, they brought a bunch of typewriters, but I think they only put a couple up, or they put a couple up and then they put them away and brought them back. It was everything was happening so fast. It was a little hard. I did take pictures.
Oh, cool.
I got them up on Instagram. So yeah.
What's your Instagram account? If you don't.
No, I don't mind. That's a good question. It's you would think I would know that. It's it's M_C_JAY.
Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't, there was too many pictures for one post. So there's 2 different posts with a bunch of pictures. It's pretty cool. And I heard you guys talking earlier about the original steel covers for the Hermé. I have an Hermé baby with the original covers, and the people who collect the typewriters that attended, they were all sorts of interested in that. That was probably the most. Oh, and you can see the big standard typewriter there too. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I did have a good time doing that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had to, I would suggest this, if you have teenage boys going around typing things, you need to go and check to make sure that you pull up the paper, because they do leave curse words.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Could you copy the link into the chat, please? That would be fine.
What was that? I couldn't hear.
Could you put the link to your Instagram account in the chat, please?
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's a good
Thank
idea.
you.
Good idea.
I would have typed it in there, but I had to switch to my phone, so I'm lacking certain features.
There we go.
Yes, there it is. Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you for that.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead, William.
You're talking about putting samples of the type. If you go to the link at the bottom of my member page, and then go to sold items, you'll see the picture that I have of a typed letter on each typewriter. My Etsy store.
Oh.
Okay.
If you're
Yeah.
interested. And quite often I'll do a description of the machine itself.
Very
However,
cool. All righty. Let's see. Well, Monica, it's so good to see you again, and I'm glad your event went very well.
Thanks.
It sounds like you're the new best friend of the library. So
Yeah, it's funny because there's many libraries in the county I live in, and when she first contacted me, she said I had to pull your request down because they don't like us to have more than one of the same event at different branches. But later she said to me, I think the other branches are going to want to do this. So you may be hearing from them. I haven't heard from them yet, but you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know, but I do work in a library, so I know how important those numbers are to the library, and you know we use those stats to report to the city and the state. So
Right.
Those are very important numbers. So
Good.
when we get big numbers like that, especially for something that's considered an adult event, because
Yes.
children's programming is pretty easy, but
Yeah.
adult events are much more difficult. So yeah, I'm sure they were thrilled about that number. So
Yeah. Good.
very cool. Again, it's good to see you again, Monica.
Thanks. Thanks.
All right, let's see here. Oh, I know we have Russell joining us from Australia, and it's like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. there.
It's 4 a.m. in the morning.
Oh no! Yeah, so let's say hello to Russell. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Good. I just wanted to mention last time we chatted, I messed up with the exchange rates. I really apologize for that. It was
Oh,
night duty brain. So yeah, that was that was a bit of a faux pas. But I also wanted to show you. Look what I've got.
Yep.
I don't know if you can
Perfect.
see that. Come all the way
Yeah.
from Ontario in Canada.
Yep.
So
Very
yeah,
cool.
and also Susan, I got to see Andre the Giant on one of your videos there. So it was good to see that interesting machine. That's one of the videos you did, Greg.
Oh yes, yes. Yeah, and I think Joe had it in his video as well. So
Yes, he
yeah.
did.
it got double exposure, and it deserved it. My goodness, that typewriter! I want that thing so badly.
I'd be interested what sort of font it is, or typeface. I mean,
It
sorry,
has
not
a
font.
Technopica. So it's a
Oh.
Technopica font is what he has. Yeah.
Okay.
And
And,
most every single Hermes font that's available, you could get on an Ambassador.
Really?
Yeah, they were considered their top of the line machine. So it had a lot of different typefaces that you couldn't get on other machines. But yeah, it's a Technopica, which is perfect because I didn't have a Technopica 3000. So, and he types very similarly to a 3000 actually, although he's more sturdy, but he's definitely has a similar feel
Yeah, I was surprised
How many
actually.
machines do you have, Susan?
and a very smooth carriage. Doesn't he have a very smooth carriage, Gregory? I mean, when you do the
Yes.
carriage return, it's like very, very, very smooth.
Yep.
Wow. And how many machines do you have, Susan?
I probably have in the range of 60 machines right now.
And the majority are Hermes.
Most of them, but I have quite a few Hermes. I think I have 10 Hermes machines now. I have about the same number of Olympias actually.
Okay.
So I love Olympias as well, but I always forget one or two of the Hermes. Not that I forget them, but when I'm counting in my head, but Hermes are my favorite. They're my absolute favorite machine. I only have two standards. I have Andre the Giant and I have Betty, the SG1, the Olympia SG1. And that's all I intend to get. But I wanted an Ambassador from the beginning. Once I typed on a 3000, I really wanted an Ambassador, but they're very difficult to find, at least in my area. You don't see them very much, like never, And then, of course, what makes him special is he has the carbon ribbon as well as the
Yeah, I saw that.
regular ribbon, and the fact that you can have them installed at the same time and then choose between the two of them makes that a very unique carbon ribbon typewriter. Most of the carbon ribbon type standards you have to choose. So you either have the carbon ribbon loaded or you have the fabric ribbon loaded. And you can't have them both at the same time. So, yeah,
Interesting, very
I love
interesting.
him. I mean, everybody knows I love him. I love him.
So does the ambassador take the 5/16 carbon ribbon?
He uses a 1/4 inch. Yeah,
1/4 inch.
1/4 inch. Yeah.
Okay, so that's slightly thinner than the Royal type or the Royal carbon ribbon.
Yeah, he uses a 1/4 inch.
Yeah.
But you
Alrighty.
just use the color, you use the ribbon color selector, William, to switch between the carbon, because it goes from left to right. It's carbon, then the blue, black, then the middle section, because it has the yellow, just like on a regular
Yeah.
Hermes, and then the stencil, and then the
Mhm.
red.
Cool.
Alrighty. I'm going to get back to work, and it's great to see you guys. And I'll watch the whole episode later on.
Great
Excellent.
to see you too, Russ.
Well,
Yeah.
take care. Thanks
Alrighty,
for
you guys
joining
keep
us.
well.
Thank you.
See
You
ya.
too. Always good
Bye.
to see you. Bye. Very cool. All right. So the order here, if I can figure it out. Robert, how are you doing?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, sometimes we have a bit problems with the connection. Well,
Yeah.
happy to see you all again here. So, yeah, I've been missing you a little bit, and so it was a bit difficult, everything, and so, okay. So, well, now I'm sitting here in my room with my typewriters. It's a very tiny room full of typewriters, but I won't show you the mess because I think you want to see my mess here. What's new? I found an announcement. Someone was looking for someone who can handle typewriters, and I asked him what he wants to have. And so maybe he says he was working for a local punk band, and they want someone for the artwork for the booklet or for the cover to write down 13 text files on typewriter. So I'm now just in negotiating if it works or not. And here I made a sample of some of my typewriters. As I told him, you can see many typewriters, and I can write in different styles, but I don't have a I have just a bad script machine. So here's just what I will send him now, just a sample of some of my typefaces I have. And so he can choose, and then I will tell you later how it goes on. I think I don't want to have anything, or maybe the fee which brings me another typewriter in. But I think it's a nice, quite interesting task for me. So let's see if it works. But quite interesting, because normally it's a kind of goodwill. So you find a lot of announcement where someone is selling something, and here's someone looking for someone who can type something. So I will keep you informed about the progress of the thing. New typewriters, there are some, but I don't know which is mentionable. Yesterday, I picked up an SM3 for 10 euros just around the corner. So I picked it up, and of course, the same was the rubber grommets are pressed down, so I have to replace them with a bit of plastic or cork or whatever I find to make the carriage back to motion again. But I think it's nothing difficult. We'll go. And there was yes, okay, yeah, because is Susan there? Yeah, Susan is here. I have a question about the ambassador, because I really like the ambassador, but it's a monster as far as I can see. And I see on the typewriter database there are many different areas, styles of the ambassador. So with the green block keys and some with more black keys. And you said this is a bit same like the Hermes 3000. Is this for all ambassadors, or is it the same difference between the Hermes 2000 and 3000? The 3000 is totally different to the 2000. Because I'm really thinking about, will I have an ambassador? Will I have such a monster here? Because there are quite some around here in my area, though, maybe 200 kilometers. That's not so hard, and even a fair price. But if it is too close to the Hermes 3000, then I don't think that I will spend this much space, which I haven't here. But on the other hand, if it's really a special kind of experience to type on an ambassador, so maybe I could get weak to get one. So if someone can tell me about the qualities of the ambassador, would be fine. So Susan still listen, but I think he's
Okay,
I think
uh,
yes, Ted.
if you can imagine the difference between an SM3 and an SG1,
yeah.
then you can imagine the difference between an Hermes 3000 and an Ambassador.
So I have to get an ambassador. Thanks for that advice. So, but Ted, do you know about the differences between the older and the younger ambassadors, or are they the same in typing?
They're mostly the same. It's just a different color because they switched. Like they were building SG1s in the 40s along with the Hermes 2000s, and so you'll see the 2000s in that same color, and you know the ambassadors would be that same darker army type green. And then when they switched to the lighter seafoam green, all the models did that. So,
but the technique is the same inside, more or less.
It's the same machine inside.
Okay, thank you so much. So I will have to figure out, but we have to be careful here in Europe because I found one really close to me, about 50 kilometers. But then I took a close look, and then it was a French layout, Averti.
Yeah.
And okay, that's a bit hard to type for me. I can accept.
You also need to pay attention to whether it's an electric ambassador or not.
Yes, I've seen,
because they have the electrified ones with the So.
Yeah, no, of course, only a manual. But then I will take a closer look to the offer here around, and then it will be a nice journey, and my wife will freak out, I think. But okay.
They have a very large footprint.
Oh yeah.
Yes, they do. They do. I've seen the picture on the type in from Monica, and that's really a monster. I have an SG1 here. I think it's quite tiny in comparison to the ambassador.
Yeah, the SG1 is a smaller footprint than an ambassador. It's just very wide machine.
Yeah, yes, but it looks really great. And when I imagine the quality in build from the Hermes 3000, then in full size, it must be really an amazing thing.
Yep.
So I have to think about, and another thing on my bucket list. But really, I have to size down or calm down my collecting a bit, which I'm already doing. So I'm not jumping on every machine that's offered, but sometimes you get weak. I think you know the problem. You all know this problem. Yes. So, well, just out of my hip shot, no, I can't report anything else to you. So just as I said, I'm happy to have you here again because I think I like the moderated typing meeting a bit more. The other thing is a bit more theme related, and it's just often a chat between two people, and then you sit down and listen and think, yeah, okay, but that's that's not so my topic. So here it's a bit more a stew of total interested points in 2-3 hours. That's quite nice. But I don't want to blame the open chat with the other things. And it's also okay. I had, I think, 2 hours chat one day with Ovi. He's not here today, from Romania.
Yeah.
So all nice people everywhere. Okay. So then I had just another thing in stock, but I don't know what. I'm getting older. I'm now 60 years old. So I have the right to be senile. Okay, so then nice to see you all again, and then all the best.
Yes, thank you, and good to see you too, Robert.
Have you received my letter? Just a question.
Yes, I
okay.
did.
Okay,
I did.
Great. Okay.
Yeah, I had to be careful because we had the fan on, and we had a bunch of confetti in there, so I was like,
That's nice for the cats.
Yeah. But yes, thank you very much. And I'm going to try and respond very soon because I want to try and respond to letters as soon as I get them, because otherwise it'll be a long time.
Hey, Gregory, take your time. I know how it is to have such a bunch of unanswered letters, and that's normal. And for me, it's more important that you received it than
yes.
I will have an answer. I can see you every Sunday. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was a very nice surprise. Thank you.
Great. That's it. That was the intention.
Very cool. All right. Let's see. I think I want to say hi to Bob because he was there at the Type In also. I'm hoping his connection is okay. It looks a little choppy, but how are you, Bob? Are you there? Uh-oh, maybe your sound isn't working. Oh, yeah, I think your sound isn't working. Or is it my sound? No, I can hear things. Oh,
Yeah, it looks like he's having trouble.
yeah, he can just sit there and look pretty. Oh, sorry, Bob. Or I don't know if you want to try logging back in or something, but yeah, no sound. Yeah. Oh, let's see here. While he tries to get that straightened away, I'm not sure because I'm looking at two different. I have the YouTube screen going on in the
Mark's
on
been
the
on a long
computer.
time.
Who?
Mark?
Mark, you said? Oh yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ted. I appreciate that. Mark, how are you?
Hello guys, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
I am very happy to be here. I haven't been very consistent with coming on, but it's not been easy. So this is an exception. Hopefully in the future, I will be more consistent. Anyways, I have had something very exciting happen when it comes to typewriters on my end. So you guys may remember that I have this, probably the most valuable and rare machine I have is this Adler Lux that has a dual keyboard. So it has both Cyrillic and Latin letters. And there's a little shift to change between the two. And I know these are pretty rare everywhere else, but for some reason here in Bulgaria, they seem to be relatively common. Not very common, but relatively common. So recently, a family friend of mine told me that he had found a typewriter for me. I still don't know where he found it from, but he gave it to me and I expected something normal, didn't expect anything fancy, but once I opened the case, I was stunned to see one more dual keyboard, and this one is a Triumph. As you can see, I find the quality of this keyboard absolutely beautiful. It's pretty much completely preserved from the day it was manufactured, and the machine works very well. The day I got it, I went home and typed 2 letters on it immediately, and it just works fantastically. No problems at all, except for the hard rubber, but that's not a mechanical thing, so I don't count it. And yeah, it's probably the most exciting thing I've gotten in a while. And it actually has the same body style as that Adler I was telling you about, the same curves, but this one has many more features. So for example, it has a tabulator, which the other one doesn't. It has a carriage lock right down here. It also has these lovely, I don't know if you can see them there, the paper rests, and something else which I can't probably think of right now, but it's a very nice machine. And now I somehow have ended up owning 2 dual keyboards, so that's pretty cool.
That is wonderful.
Yeah, it's very nice. As I said, it types absolutely perfectly. I don't know how. It's just been very well preserved. No problems at all.
Wow, that's great.
Have any of you ever seen a machine such as this one, so with a dual keyboard, anywhere else? Because I have talked to some other people and nobody seems to have seen such a thing before.
Not me, that's for sure.
There is actually a Smith Corona, a Galaxy, I think, on the typewriter database it's a 4-bank machine, but someone has converted it to be like a double shift. So it has 3 characters on each slug.
Oh.
And I think I forget what language it was, but someone went through the trouble to actually rebuild this whole machine and turned it into a dual shift Smith Corona that
That
has,
must have
you
been
know,
a very complicated conversion.
yeah, I imagine so. But they changed the keys out and everything. So it's a pretty impressive thing. It's in I don't know where it's at in the database. I just saw it pretty recently and when it came in, but
Right. I'll
it's
have a
in there
look.
somewhere.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so that's the only other one I've seen, but it was definitely a custom job.
Yeah. I've actually seen a Continental portable that was also dual keyboard for sale here in Bulgaria. So I guess it was just a thing that's only common here.
Mm-hmm.
And also another a fun thing about these is that here's a typeface sample. So the typeface is sans serif. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not sure that's the way it's supposed to be pronounced, which I find very cool because I don't know another sans serif machine,
Yeah.
and it looks really cool in my opinion. Very
Okay.
unusual to the regular Pica I'm used to.
Yeah, and you'll also see in Japan typewriters, especially Brothers, with like Latin characters and Japanese kanji on them.
Right.
So you'll see double language machines like that too in Japan.
Very cool. Very cool. And then something else I've been up to is I've gotten even more obsessed with stamp collecting. So
Uh-huh.
now I have a pretty big collection of, let's see. So firstly, let's get these out of the way. A lot, and when I say a lot, I mean a lot of Lenin block stamps.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I've concentrated this much on these, but I find them interesting and very historical.
Mm-hmm.
There are some more of these. Then some other interesting USSR stamps right here. Many on the topic of oops, there we go. Many on the topic of the Cold War and the space race, which
Yeah.
is interesting. Then a stamp that really fascinated me is, let me just pick it out. So this is a stamp from Iran, and I find this propaganda imagery very, very fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's visible, it's a fist that's breaking the eagle of the United States.
Oh,
It's
wow.
really interesting to see.
Yeah.
I like to see propaganda stamps. Not that I agree with that propaganda, please, but
Oh, yeah.
it's very interesting and a very interesting piece of history.
Is that a metallic gold print on there?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that's neat.
It's very cool. And now that you said that you mentioned reflective print, I have something else I want to show you. So a pen pal of mine who actually contacted me through typepals.com from Canada once sent me some Canadian stamps, and I have this incredible holographic. Let's see if we can.
Oh, that is pretty. Is that a space shuttle?
There we go. So
Oh.
that's a stamp. I think it's called Canada in Space. I'm not
Okay.
sure, but it's very beautiful holographics. Not sure if you can see this well.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Anyway, it's very beautiful in person. It very vivid colors,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I find that pretty cool as well. So yeah, I've been pretty busy with collecting lately.
Yeah. So it seems like your stamp collecting focuses on like propaganda and space. Would that be correct, or is it much more broad than that?
You could say that. Yeah, you could say
Okay.
that. I tried to find typewriters on stamps, but I have had zero success in that.
Yeah.
Not zero, actually. An interesting thing I own from another pen pal of mine in Belgium. He made a custom set of stamps. So the Belgian Post has this possibility where you can submit your own stamp design and have some stamps with that design printed. So he made this set of 20 stamps like this one, which I find pretty neat. and I have one of them, one of 20, so rare. And I find it very cool.
That is very cool. Definitely. Yeah.
But I had no luck with finding older typewriter stamps for now, official ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. Excellent.
You?
All right. Anything else new with you, Mark?
No, I don't think so. I think that's it.
Okay. All right. Well, it's so good to see you again.
Good to see you all as well.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. I know who we haven't talked to in a very, very long time. He's always wearing some kind of cool hat with his spiffy glasses, his little goatee going on. Sean, how are you?
I was like, oh, I'm not wearing my spiffy hat today, but thank you.
No, but they're always cool though. You're always wearing something different.
Yeah, I gotta get modern. But no, thanks, Gregory. Good to see you. Thank you very much for posting your quick little vid yet last week on the Phoenix thing. It was good to see everybody there. It was sort of like a gathering of, just old TV shows when all of the variety show hosts get together from their own YouTube channels and Type Pals and everything. It was fun. I can't variety shows used to be back in the 80s, the late 70s and 80s, but all these people would show up from different shows and like a laugh-in type stuff. Those were always interesting. So seeing all of you guys there together and hugging was like, I felt super, super jealous. I was like, man, I should have just flown down for that. That would have been great.
Oh man, that would have.
Yeah.
I probably would have just fallen over with excitement.
I love surprises, and if I was really on the ball, but I'm not, just a surprise popped in, and then seeing how long it would have taken. But yeah, to be able to put my arms around Ted and give him a noogie and say thanks for all the books, man. Joy of mine. So anyway, looks like it was a really good time. Yeah, it was super awesome. So thanks for doing that.
Of course.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, for myself, not really much new. Got a couple new typewriters, as always is the case, even though we all say, well, we're not going to, but we all deep down really know we're going to. And then coming on and seeing Robert after so long, haven't seen Robert in a while, and Brenda, who just left because we don't see Brenda. Hi, Brenda. It's really, really good. And yeah, the crew, I love the crew.
Oh, and what typewriter do you have there?
I've got a 1957 Smith Corona. It's a silent super, but for some reason in Canada, we didn't mark them silent supers. They kept getting marked as supers for a few years, even after the US went to silent supers. And it is a silent super in all ways, but it's just marked super. So yeah, anyway, but pretty much a silent super. So I got it in 2015 from a photography student who had been using it in her classes. She was going one of the technology institutes here in town, and I was just getting into typewriters. I think this was my third or fourth typewriter, and I bought it from her for an exorbitant $40. And I was like, I don't know, it's pink, and I'm a man, and men don't have pink things, but I really liked it anyway. And it was all locked up from old grease and oil. But yeah, this typewriter helped me to get in touch with my inner pink self and realize I do love pink, and I'm okay with it, and I'm comfortable with that now. So
yeah,
inner Barbie.
And my inner Barbie, my inner Barbie. I've got my Oppenheimer typewriter over there, so yeah, it's a perfect mix. But they're just these 5 Series Smith Coronas. I mean, everybody always, yeah, we got our SM9 lovers, and we got the best typewriter here, and we got these and that, but these 5 Series Smith Coronas are just bulletproof. They're just so fun to type on.
As far as I'm concerned, the 5 Series were the best of the North American made typewriters.
They work with the widest variety of type styles, right? I mean, they're very forgiving for everybody. I mean, if you're going to put somebody on a Royal Quiet Deluxe, you better make sure they have their, a really decent, consistent touch type system. But if they don't, then put them on a 5 Series and they'll be happy. So, yeah. anyway, yeah.
I guess you
Very
could say
cool.
that they are about the most forgiving.
Very forgiving. Oh, and yeah, so sorry, I didn't mean to distract like that. Yes, they're very forgiving. I was going to change the topic because I'm like a dog, a squirrel. I got this super awesome thing from Teresa in New York. So she knows I like old fashioned. So she included this letter that's got the old fashioned thingy in it. Yeah.
So I got a question. Does she hand make all of her stationery? Because she tells me she gets it from a printer.
Yeah, she's had a bunch of stuff done and specifically like pressed, like hand pressed or letter pressed.
Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful stationery. Yeah, but I don't know. I think she said she bought these ones and she's been wanting to use them, but she had to wait for a 15 CPI typewriter to come in so she could use this note card. So she wrote this with a 15 CPI,
Okay.
which is great, and then sent it. But yeah, I think she indicated on here that she's been waiting to use these. She bought them a while ago. So these ones were bought, but yeah, some others, she's got some other personal letterhead that she's had letter pressed.
Because I mean, I've gotten quite a few letters from her now, and every single one of them is different.
Yeah.
Like she never uses the same piece of stationery twice. And it's all handmade, like, it's letter pressed and stuff, but it's like, handmade envelopes with custom interiors and stuff. And I'm just like, she must spend a lot of money on
I know.
stationery.
When I write back to her on my cheap trailer park 9-pound onion skin,
Mhm.
pretty low class by comparison to the beautiful letters she sends on this beautiful paper every time.
Yeah, she really has some classy stationery.
So I'm writing her a letter back right now on the smallest typeface I've got, and yeah, hope that'll be good. But you never know how old your recipients are. First thing she says is, "I hope you can read this 15 CPI." I'm like, just got to get close.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Excellent. And how's your creative writing going?
Well, yeah, not really as good. I mean, it's been a super busy summer. I was in a Harvard leadership course for 6 months. I had some outside obligations with some other clubs that I had volunteered on the executive for. So summer was really busy. I didn't have as much time to put in. And I don't know about everybody else, but I find I've got a period at about 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. where my dreaming really comes up with what I think are really, really good stories, really good ideas for writing, really fertile ground. But I always mistakenly go, that was so good. I'll remember that when I wake up. Yeah.
You never
Gone.
do.
Gone.
It never happens.
Yeah, that totally. Yeah. So
Yeah.
actually last night or the night before I had another dream and I thought, no, I got to get up. So I woke up at like 4:58 Friday night and wrote all this stuff down on my notepad. So I've got a new story idea that is going to get me a nice little short story here that I've got to start free of all these other obligations. But yeah, so
Nice.
as good as I wish it was, Gregory.
Yeah. See, my wife and I are opposites. I almost never remember my dreams, and she remembers every single dream she has in intricate detail. And they're like movies. They're like long and lots of details. And she'll describe it to me. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, so I'm like your wife, because that's those kinds of dreams I have, and they're like whole movies that I tell Carol
Okay.
in the morning,
Okay.
getting ready for work.
Yeah. You just need her skill of actually remembering them. Yeah.
Yeah. Just a quick note about what Teresa sends out. Teresa sent me this pad of airmail paper, and it weighs 1.2 grams per sheet, working out to 7.5 pound paper. That is the lightest paper I've ever seen.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, and it is literally, to say paper thin is an understatement. There is one sheet right there. And hang on, what I'm going to do. Give me half a minute. That's my phone behind it.
Yeah.
Show you how my video is going silly again. It does it every now and then. Anyhow, so Teresa sent me that in a gift package. Let's try this again. Wrapped in this paper. So I used this paper to make an envelope to send her a thank you letter. Made an envelope out of this. That's kind
Oh
of,
wow.
yeah.
Very cool.
Okay, carry on, Sean. Carry on.
Yeah, no problem. I can't remember when I last brought up what I last brought up or talked about, and I hate sort of repeating myself. So I'm probably missing out on a bunch of things. And once I say we're all done, Gregory, I'll remember all these great things I share with enthusiasm with everybody, but forgot to do that. So the only thing I'll leave with is it's been a Corona flat top year for me. It's really been a focus on flat tops for some reason, just the way it turned out. But I did finally find the army green flat top, and I know Ted and some of the folks here have heard this. So I've got both green flat tops from the early 30s now. So this is how nerdy and bad it gets for some. Once you find out things, that hanging out with all of you is great, but the downside is you all have great information that causes me to have to do more hunting for things. So, you know.
Oh.
Hey, Sean, this is Rich.
Hey, Rich, good to see you.
Good to see you. That Army green flat top. Now, that had no association with the Army. Is that true?
Oh, that was just the same color. It looks like that they used on the big LC Smith full-size standards up until the early 20s. And then,
yeah, okay.
But the paint, I'm pretty sure I know why they didn't use that paint longer than that, because it's weird. It's not the greatest looking paint. It gets very splotchy. So I don't know if LC Smith or Smith Corona have applied it all properly, which doesn't make sense really, because they were doing the Duco colors, a couple years later and all that. So, but it was the early days still, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, they switched over to a much nicer green later, but it looks like that army green was a carryover from the standards for maybe 1 year, not even.
Yeah, I have one of the standards. I think it's a really cool color. It sort of mixes in with some of my Army stuff, kind of cool. But I only have one typewriter that I know of that had an Army association, because it has U.S. Army stenciled on the top, a Smith Corona. But
Yeah.
other than that, I don't think there was anything else definitely built for the military.
Oh, and it's funny, Rich, because every U.S. Army marked typewriter I've seen has never been Army green. They're always sort of that brownie color or the gray color.
Oh, really?
And like you just don't find Army green typewriters for the Army. Like even the Navy, U.S. Navy had a variety of white crinkle and brown crinkle and black crinkle. So I don't think they cared so much about the color, but yeah, it's funny.
Well, they're just mass purchasing typewriters for the war effort. But
Yeah.
the one I've got was actually green, a Smith Corona, and it was
an Army typewriter.
I presume it was Army. It's still, I can go get it and show it to you. I mean, it looks like it was used by the Army. I don't know who would have printed that on. There's like gold print across the front.
This is TypePal, so typewriters, yeah.
Yeah.
Gregory's the boss, so whatever he says.
Well, I'll take a momentary leave of absence and retrieve it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. We'd love to see typewriters.
Anyway, thanks, Gregory. That's all for me. And yeah, good seeing you.
Okay, very cool. Let's see here. It looks like William's connection has stabilized. How are you, William?
Doing very well, thank you. It's been a very busy summer. I think we're finally seeing the end of summer. It rained here all day yesterday and looks like it's clearing up. I had to turn the furnace on yesterday, so yeah. Now, as far as margins, I'm pretty ordinary boring. For Elite, I go 1 inch. For Piker, 1.25 inches.
Ah, okay.
On the left margin, I set the right margin for about 3/4 of an inch. depending on the machine and how many spaces are between the bell and the line lock. I have one machine that does 11 spaces and another machine that does 3. So I set the bell so that if I am starting a word, I can then decide whether to hyphenate it or finish it, or if I need to use the margin of release to finish it. Of course, the right-hand side of the page is always somewhat ragged, because I can't be bothered counting the spaces to justify the text both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah, but generally speaking, I like to try and keep the right margin within 4 or 5 characters of an inch.
Okay.
And,
Sounds like
yeah,
like a good plan.
yeah, and on the smaller papers, I like it maybe slightly less than an inch, so you have more type on the smaller papers. But on the standard 8.5 by 11, it is inch for lead, inch and a quarter for piker.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, basically 12 character spaces.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. So you like the well, I was gonna say larger margins, but that's like standard margins basically.
Yeah, it is pretty well. That's what I mean. Boring standard. Now, a friend of Juliana's brought an estate sale to our attention. So a friend of hers went to the place with Sean and Werner and myself on Zoom, and we picked at a whole bunch of typewriters at $10 a piece and one at 15. And so Juliana and I will be going down to Montana on October 21st and 22nd to meet up with some of the friends and bring all the typewriters back. We have a haul of 17 units altogether, not all mine, but most of them. So that's kind of planned for my Etsy store once I retire the business.
Yeah.
I'll be able to hopefully service and recondition a couple of machines each weekend.
Yeah.
And get my Etsy store shelves stacked up again, or stocked up again.
Yes.
And as I say, the term I like to use is a term that's used quite often here, is I'm not a hoarder, I'm a catch and release. Find them in the wild, recondition them, get them going, get them serviced, new ribbon, and send them out again back into the wild.
Yeah. Yep.
How many I'll bother getting the platinum redone, I don't know, but that automatically adds $120 US to the retail price. Oh,
Yeah.
there goes my video again.
Max headroom.
Yeah, I'm still here. So yeah, so that's about news for me.
Okay.
Nothing else really exciting. Excuse me.
Okay. All right. Well, as always, it's good to see you, William.
Mm-hmm. And hopefully once the cooler weather comes, I'll be sitting down and typing a few more letters. This summer was just crazy busy with everything.
Yeah.
I'm still playing catch up from last year. And I got so far behind with Juliana breaking her ankle and me having to shut the shop down for 6 weeks, and then winter coming a month early, and just threw everything completely off the rails.
Yeah.
But winter preparations are coming along. I've got all the weeds ground off the driveway. I've got half my firewood split. I've got lawn mown. And now we've had this rain, the ground should be soft. I'll get the driveway markers in. Pull up my snow blowers in the next couple of weeks, get them started up, make sure everything works. They've got to get them, make sure they're tuned. And yeah, so we'll have to be a little more ready for winter this year. We won't be caught out by surprise. With a big dump of snow on October 22nd, which is what happened last year.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so good seeing you all again. Great chatting with you and I.
Yes.
I won't be in next Sunday because it's my turn to help count the offering in church. But the Sunday afternoon,
sorry, I
say
was
again?
just gonna say, remember we're the first and third Sundays now.
Yes, I
So
know. Yeah.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will see you when we see you. And it's
Sounds
always
like a
good to
plan.
have you here.
Okay, take care there.
All right. Diane, how are you doing?
Hi there, I am fine.
Excellent. Anything interesting going on?
I have something new.
You do?
I
You never have any.
do. Huh?
You never have anything new.
Oh, yeah. And I never have lights turned on, so
Yeah.
so what this is, it's a catalog for the Smith Premier Typewriter Company. Nothing new there. The covers are loose, so that I can pull them off. It's copyright 1902. I don't know if this is the elusive, and that's how I'm going to phrase it. In so much of the literature, they say, contact us for our art catalog. I don't know if this is the art catalog, but I've never seen a catalog that looks like this, to be honest. So, but anyway, it's quite an extensive catalog. It has their desks, it has their typewriters, including the 6 that you don't really see of anything other than a pencil drawing much of. But it's for the models 2 through 6. And it's basically an advertise, it's catalog.
You're gonna scan that, right?
I could.
I'd like it.
Huh?
That would
And
be
it has,
very handy to like put that information on the Smith Premier page.
yeah, it would. And here is a price list of the
Yeah.
machines and of the desks. I think that's the desk.
Yeah, that seems like
Yes, drop cap.
it's like very
What?
tasty information.
Yeah, drop cabinets and tables. Oh, here's a lovely quartered oak table.
Tasty.
And I see these things, these pictures, and they have the the mechanism for dropping it down. Although I don't think I've ever actually seen one of these on a desk like that. I mean, I've only seen the desk that Herman Price has at his house, and it has never been opened, I don't think. And in any case, it does not have a Smith Premier in it. And the desks themselves don't come up too often. Every now and then you'll see them. Here's something you don't see too often. This is a depiction of the decimal tabulator.
Oh, for the floor, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, under the machine. Okay.
Yeah, it's for the machine, but they show it. I don't know. Maybe it comes off and on. Maybe it can be just added. I don't know. It's not clear. I haven't looked at the catalog that closely to know. It's I don't know if it's just an attachment or it's something that that would actually be coming on.
It kind of looks like it wraps around the bottom and back of the machine.
Yeah. I've seen one. I had the opportunity to pick up one, but let's just say it was 2018, the money wasn't there, and the space in the vehicle that I was riding in was not there. So it couldn't, and at the time I wasn't really into this whole, oh boy, I need to get all the models, etc., etc. So, and anyway, it was being sold for parts. I don't really remember why. This was the year it rained at Herman's.
Ah,
Yeah, I can't tell you what kind of a mess that was.
I can imagine.
Because his event is outside.
Yep. You guys camp out there, right?
I never
Tents?
did, but there were people who did.
Yeah,
And
so I
it
mean,
was-
there's people driving on the lawn and
Yep. Yeah, his lawn was suffering after that. So anyway. So
It was
I
like
have
wood. It was like Woodstock for typewriters.
yeah, your own personal Woodstock.
pretty much, but that's how it usually is. I mean, at least I think the first 2 years that we went, there was people who accidentally got too far into a ditch as they were trying to back out of his driveway, and it was like watching a bunch of teenagers trying to lift this car back onto the road.
Oh my.
But anyway, I think that's all the new stuff I have. I think that's the only new item I have.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to sit down and kind of catalog. It's kind of like with my machines. I need to make sure everything's updated. With the ephemera, I don't have a catalog. I need to make a catalog of the things that I have.
Yeah, yeah. And you certainly have a lot.
Well, I have the guy in Connecticut is feeding me. Of course, he finds these things, I don't know where, but that's I appreciate that. I appreciate that he sends me things once in a while, and
Yeah,
that's always pretty cool.
yeah, definitely. Excellent, excellent.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else that's new.
Okay. Okay.
What does your shirt say, Gregory? You typewrite?
It says I typewrite.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it said
So-
anything else. Okay.
That's it. I typewrite.
Oh, okay.
It's a play on the word
Yeah.
typewrite or
Yeah.
typewriter, and
Uh-huh.
and poor grammar, because it should be I type correctly, but it's I type right.
Well, it could be you type left too.
That's true. That's true.
It's also a play on I swipe right as well
Ah, there you go. There you go.
on Tinder or whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was giving out some of the. I turned this into postcards also, and I was giving those out at the type in. But this shirt was kind of a reject. The quality is very poor, and I think it has a hole somewhere, and so I ended up not selling these. But I did have the postcards, although they're not ideal because they're coated on both sides, so some typewriter ink doesn't really take to it. But then I have the new and improved postcard. I don't have that with me, but it has like a yellow background, and both sides are uncoated, and it's only 14 point, which is for cardstock that's pretty thin. So those I've been feeding those through my little Splendid 33, and it's been working beautifully. So I'm very happy with those. So I don't know if Ted has had a chance to type on any of the postcards, but yeah.
I have not actually. My postcard exchange today was to someone in Canada. Today, but this round.
Yes.
Was to someone in Canada, and so I would have had to put an international forever stamp on it anyway. So I sent him one of the postcards, one of the I typewrite postcards, blank inside an envelope, and then included a letter.
Oh, okay, cool.
I was like, if I got to spend,
I know.
$1.75 or however much it is to send something to Canada,
Yeah.
And they don't give me a break on it because it's a postcard, so
Yep.
I'm
We're
gonna
really
get my
sorry
money's
about
worth.
that, Ted.
So I threw in a couple lead sheets and,
Yeah.
Gregory, I'm not sure if you saw my Olympia Splendid or not.
I don't recall seeing it. You have a typewriter that small?
Yeah, it's not amazing.
You're the queen of large typewriters.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I have a typewriter this small. I think maybe it was something that came between weeks and it just never got shown. It never got shown on this one. So this is a Splendid 66, made in England.
You like typing on it?
The slash key is in a very strange place, but other than that, yes. The slash is a shifted 3.
Okay.
Because there's fractions down where the slash and the question mark would otherwise be. Where's the question mark?
I see it has the
Pound key.
third
Oh yeah, it's
fractions
next
on
to
it.
the question mark is next to the P. It's next to the P and it's a shifted dash, I think. So some of the punctuation is a little weird, but I like the color.
Or British pound.
Yep, 5.
It's probably a British keyboard because they like their fractions.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, they have their fractions, 1/4, 3/4, 1/3, 2/3, percent and a half.
Can I ask you something about that? Is that
Sure.
the same body style as an SF or is it different?
It's the same.
It's the
I actually
same.
have an SF that looks like that.
Yeah.
I have an SF, but mine's white or whatever. Yeah, okay.
So it's I think it's elite. I don't know if I ever actually measured it, but I know the scale goes out to 90.
So if that machine was made in England, does anybody know if Olympia actually made typewriters in England or if it was made in England under license of Olympia?
Well, let's see. What does it say? Olympia Business Machines Company Limited, London NW1, and there's some sort of road there. Here, if you can see that.
Does it say made in England or is that just the distributor?
I don't know.
That I assume is the distributor or the office.
Nope. Yeah, it says made in Western Germany.
Okay, there you go. So made in Western Germany for the British market and sold in England from London, or distributed in England from London. There you go. That makes sense.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, my SF, well, one of my SFs is that exact same color. It looks exactly the same. I forget what it, because I don't think it actually says SF on it. I don't remember now.
They generally don't.
Yeah, yeah. So
SFs are like SMs. They're not marked as SMs anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it marked in the vibrator?
What?
Oh,
you'll usually see a deluxe or a crown.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Ted's got all the good info.
The S model. Sometimes you'll see an S because there was an S model.
I believe that stood for select, didn't it?
I don't know exactly, but I know that in the parts manual they have different pages.
Yeah.
So there's parts differences.
You know, I don't even know if you saw this one. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'll show you anyway.
Oh. Roll number 10.
I think it's an H. It's got the little covers on it. The 10s don't have that.
Okay.
It also has the touch control thingamajig over here.
The inthanometer, yeah.
The what?
Inthanometer.
Oh, okay.
It looks like it.
That sounds like a lot more formal than touch control thingy.
Sometimes on cranes, you'll see one of those coordinate scales with a pointer hanging down to tell you what angle the crane is at. And so we just call those inclinometers.
Oh, okay, yeah, because
Yeah, but it is a touch control.
because the touch control is back here on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And the serial number is an H, so I'm assuming it's an H model.
You are assuming correctly.
And yeah, it's in nice shape. I mean, the people I bought it from, they said they found it at an estate sale, and the table came with it. The table without a top, a bit strange, but it's one of these where it's got the cups. I don't know what. I think it used to say Tiffany on the side, on the edge here, but it's worn. Whoop, and I cannot see what I'm showing you. I'm looking, let's see. Do I see my finger? Oh, right there. There used to be a label. I think it said Tiffany at one time.
Seems likely. The one I have right here is Tiffany, but it's like, it's a later one with a label.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, there used to be a label, and I can barely see maybe a few letters that said it was a Tiffany at some point, but anyway. So yeah, I couldn't remember if this one had come out or not either. I know they've come out on Saturday night, so anyway. So yeah, this is a nice elite machine, and it types pretty well and didn't require a whole lot of cleaning. Some of the glass here I don't know if it's dirty or what. It's kind of hard to see the label underneath, but that's just the decimal tabulator, and I know what that does. So everything else seems to be in nice shape, and even those are legible, but just it's just a little harder to see them, but not a problem.
Yeah, excellent. Very cool. Well, thank you for sharing that, Dan.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. And anything else? Oh, what was that?
Now I got to talk about your typing prompt.
Oh, yes. Diane, how do you feel about line length and margins?
I've actually asked something similar, meaning whenever you are you're preparing your margins, do you set it according to a physical inch, or do you say, okay, I have a pica machine, I'm setting it at 10, or an elite machine, I'm setting my inch at 12 on the scale? But how do I feel about it? For letters, I like the 1 inch. For envelopes, I tend to go down to about the 3 to 5 range on the scale, depending on whether I can get the carriage over that far or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do have a few longer carriage machines, and those, it's just fun to turn the paper on its side. And just for a little bit of fun, and yeah, on those, on the one in the back, on the one in the background here, which you really can't see because it's all the way over there, and I'm not stepping through. Whoop, it's right there, I think. Yeah, it's covered with gray towels. Anyway, that's the 6, and it's got the 16-inch writing line. So, yeah, I don't have anything wide. Thank God I don't have anything wider than that. But generally I do like the 1-inch margins. I can't.
The other thing you can do if you have a wide carriage is to get some 11 by 17 paper. Just ask me about that one.
Yeah, I have some, and it's just sitting here waiting for me to do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's fun to just use the wider paper.
Yeah, it is.
And of course, you can always use the wider paper in one of these. You just fold it in half, and it might be a slightly different aspect ratio than your 8 by 8.5 by 10.
Yeah. I think someone at I don't know whose typewriter it was, but someone at the type-in had a large sheet of paper in their typewriter. Yeah. And the paper was very interesting. It had these black bars on it, and I'm not sure what the purpose of that. I should have asked, but I was just like, the whole thing was quite overwhelming. There was a lot going on.
I saw somebody at your type-in that had a Smith Premier.
Yes, he did, and he was talking about Smith Premier 1s. He was telling everybody about the engraving on the side.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Kind of the castings on the side. So yeah, he was educating people on it.
Yeah. I looked at it, but I didn't want to touch.
You what? You cut out.
Looked at it, but I didn't want to touch it. It just those really old machines scare me.
Well, they shouldn't, I mean.
Yeah.
Don't.
Well, based on the typing sample that I saw on the page, it looked like it had issues.
Mm-hmm.
So it probably wasn't working order as yours are, but yeah, it was interesting to look at though. They're quite large.
Well, not all mine are in spiffy usable shape.
Yeah, that's true.
I think about half of them are. And the others, it's like, well, one of them is set to be the next cleanup machine, and I'm not too sure. Well, we'll have to see what I can do with it. It's like the feed rollers are smashed and actually separate. They're actually puff. They're flattened such that there's a gap between the rubber and the inside of the feed roller.
Yeah.
That's the if I ever had to give a name to a machine, that machine deserves one, and it's called the Fractionator. Because it's the Smith Premier 9 with the row of fractions across the top.
Yes.
Yeah, that might wind up being kind of a winter project of, before it gets cold, do all the chemical stuff outside, and then see what I can do about the rest of it.
Yeah.
Because that'll I mean, actually, once the chemistry gets done, the chemical part gets done, it's just here, and the way I do it, it winds up being here and there, and I'll do a little bit here and a little bit there, and maybe I can get as nice looking as that 4 that I have, that's my speed typer. I call it that, but I am not a speed typer. But no, that 4 is really the 4 and the 10 are probably the best working ones that I have. And that new 9, it's funny. You said you were kind of afraid to touch it. I was kind of afraid to use that new 9 also, kind of for the same reason, except that one was just like so new. I'm just like, ooh, I don't want to mess it up.
Oh,
But I have written one. What?
There's probably not many flesh-eating bacterias on there.
No, but I I have typed one letter on that new 9, the new 9 that's in really great shape. I've only typed one letter on it, but it's under its cover, it's kind of best to stay under its cover with cats around. So but yes, I have used it. I really need to rethink my shelving situation as far as what machines go on which shelves in which rooms and whatnot, because I can't always get to the ones that I want when I want to get to them. It's like I'm slow. I actually have a whole, I have this whole shelf of portables in here. I'm not sure that this is really the room I want that in. But it was meant to get some of the portables off the floor, and it got some, but not all. I still have quite a few in here on the floor. That just tells me I have two machines.
It's never too many.
Well, yes, yes, it is. So I think you can appreciate. I think we all can appreciate that. We've heard that several times. Although I have a machine in mind that I think Sean needs.
Oh, he perked up.
Yeah, it's a Smith Corona 4 series, and they only want about $20 for it.
Oh wow!
But it's in great need of cleaning, and the case is not in great shape.
I was going to say, Diane, you can just go ahead and pick that up, and I'll give you a transport and shipping fee. Like a typewriter broker fee.
Yeah.
There you go.
You want the hassle.
To what?
It depends on whether or not you want the hassle of picking it up and packing it and shipping it. But I'll compensate you with a Smith Premier typewriter ribbon container.
Oh, you have a ribbon container?
No,
Actually,
I'll buy
one.
I don't, but I'll buy one for you.
Well, I do have one. Now you just have to find me one with the trichrome ribbon on the inside of it.
Ooh, good luck with that one.
I have the trichrome ribbon tin because I found one on eBay, but I have yet to find the ribbon. I've seen a few people. They've tried the red and black bichrome ribbons that you get for like time clocks, and yeah, I guess I could put one of those on, but it wouldn't quite be the same. It's like I want that trichrome experience, and I just can't get it.
You need to call it Baco Ribbon, see if they'll make you one.
They will not. I asked her once.
Darn.
Oh, yeah. I did think of that. But yeah, I'll be happy to pick that up for you. I might I think the case is kind of but yeah, I'll pick that up for you.
If you do, Diane, don't worry, you won't be out anything. I will totally compensate you for the shipping and obviously your time as well. And I love cleaning typewriters. The grodier, the better.
John, you could throw in some cheesies as an endorsement.
And I will send you a bag of ketchup, chips, cheesies, and anything else down in the US. Thanks, Joe.
Actually, what would really be cool is if I could send you the some Smith Premier letterhead and maybe the envelope, and maybe we could get your friend to.
Yeah, I could get them to do that up, and then I can send you back the originals because you want to keep those for your records.
Yeah, that-
One thing I will caution you: do not ship via UPS.
Okay,
They charge horrendous brokerage fees to get it across the border.
uh-huh,
Like the last typewriter I bought from the US was from Greg Fudak. He shipped to UPS. I ended up paying $85 brokerage fee on top of the cost of the typewriter and shipping.
uh-huh.
I was not a happy camper.
Yeah.
Yeah, so FedEx may charge a little more to actually ship, but that includes a brokerage fee. So the receiver doesn't have to pay the same again for shipping. And
I will certainly look into that.
yeah,
Yeah.
USPS. If customs decides to check it, you'll get charged $5 for customs fee, and that's it. And maybe 5% GST on the value of the machine itself. We can't guarantee how well USPS will handle it.
Right.
Yeah. So in my experience, FedEx is the best carrier to carry from the US up to Canada.
Yeah, that's kind of what I would lean towards anyway. And to do it before the holiday rush.
Yeah. Definitely. Excellent. All right. Well, again, it's so good to see you, Diane.
Yes.
And
Thanks, Gregory.
you're welcome. You're welcome. Joe, how are you doing? And I haven't forgotten you, Rich, but we'll get to you.
I am doing quite well, and I was enjoying being on last night, and we had a very funny discussion about the difference between American and Canadian snack foods. That's where the cheesies and the tomato potato chips or ketchup potato chips came from. Anyways, I'm good. So I got this Corona 3 that you guys probably saw in the video of the Phoenix Typing. Got it back from Bill Wall, new platen and newly recovered case. And yesterday I was working on my Remington Portable that most of you haven't seen yet. I ordered a set of replacement feet for the Remington from the Typewriter Man in England before we left for the Phoenix trip. And less than a week later, I got the parts in from overseas. So that was pretty good. Got those in. And now, what I'm actually doing is let me answer the question about the margins first before I get off into something else. So I have a dysfunctional relationship with the right margin. I'm just confessing that right now. For standard letter size paper, the left margin, I like it to be around 1.25 inches, but I don't set the right margin usually because I just dislike being interrupted in the middle of a word by the line lock and then having to hit the margin release to continue typing. I would just as soon not set the right margin, like push it all the way over to the edge of the paper, and I'll just manage the right margin myself. That to me works better. And I think it's the same mentality as to why I don't use cruise control when I'm in my car. But anyways, that's a different discussion. But yeah, so I like 1.25 inches on the left, and I manage the right margin myself. So for typecasts and things like that, I will, if it's a smaller typeface, I'll move the left margin into about maybe 2.5 inches from the left side of the paper if it's a full-size piece of paper. And just to make those blogging columns a little bit narrower so the letters are bigger on mobile devices. For regular letters or like this stuff here, my random journal typing, I just use the standard 1.25 inch left margin. And that's really it. I don't really worry about having a neat right margin. You know, I know some people are very much into having within maybe 2 or 3 letters, having an exact margin and using a lot of hyphens. And I think the hyphens are more distracting than just having more space on the right margin between lines. That's just me. So
Maybe it's not just you. I kind of feel that too. I am prone to using a lot of hyphens, but I try and avoid it. And yeah, because I think it just looks bad, and like you said, it kind of interrupts the flow. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, so when this is only slightly typewriter related now, like really slightly, but when I was shooting that video of the type in, I was using this little rig, which is basically like a GoPro camera in a little metal box that enables you to mount a close-up filter so you can focus closer than infinity, and external microphone plugged into it. And this worked pretty well. But the one problem I had is if I was interviewing somebody, I'd have the camera pointed to him and the mic pointed to him. And then as they were talking, if I wanted to point the camera down to the table, like now the microphone gets pointed down to the table. So then I started thinking about Monty Hall and Let's Make a Deal from back in the 1960s. When I grew up, there was this TV show, you guys all remember, Door Number 1, 2, or 3. And there is a mathematical strategy, by the way, about how to win that game. But I remember Monty Hall had a kind of a long, skinny, cylindrical microphone he would handhold. He would go back and forth between him and the guest. And so I decided that I might do something like that. And what I'm using here, first of all, I have these lav mics, lavalier mic with the little 3.5 millimeter connectors. And I have this nifty little lav mic, and I normally have a little alligator clip that you can clip it to your clothes. But I found this brass tubing, it's 11 millimeters in diameter. I found this brass tubing in my metal bin. And if you stuff that microphone, right, the little foamy tip right into the top of that, then I went outside it's windy this morning, and I went outside to make a test recording, and it was really good. There's no wind noise, and it works really well. So this might be my setup where I'll use, the camera and then this, and I can just keep the microphone pointed to the person that's talking. But you need one of those little cubicle shaped little boxes on the end of the mic that has the logo for the TV station. You remember that? Right?
Oh,
So this is where I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to go to, let's see, I guess I'll go to this, I hope. Yes, share. And then this is Onshape. This is an online CAD program, and this is the file that I made. And this is a little box that has 4 sides to it, and there's a little cylindrical opening in the middle that goes up through it. It's about 30 millimeters on a side, and I'm currently 3D printing it from orange PLA right now. And so this is just going to stick on the end of that rod, and that'll be I didn't put a logo on it yet. This is just like a test print. So that's going to be my little box that I'm going to have on the microphone. The wall thickness is about 2 millimeters. So there it is.
They'll hold Cheetos though, won't it?
Yeah.
You gonna use your JVC logo?
Yeah, I might use the old JVC logo. So, okay, now I have to figure out how to stop sharing. Here we go. Okay, stop sharing. All right. So that's what I'm doing right now, is printing that thing. But I set the slicer. I had the slicer software set to 0.4 millimeters per layer from a previous project. So it's taken a long time to print because it's like really fine resolution right now. So anyways, so if I get this done before the end of the broadcast, I'll show it to you.
Cool.
Awesome.
One question I meant to bring up last night when we were talking about the 3D printed electric elements, what was the hardness of that? Would it be measured in the Shore or the Brinell or the Rockwell? Does anybody know?
I don't know, because it's using a resin that is hardened with UV light.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how hard that plastic gets, or that resin gets when it hardens. So you would have to literally put a Shore gauge on it and measure it after you printed it.
Be that Shore D or basic Rockwell. No, Brinell, not Rockwell.
Yeah, I don't know what the reading would be, but You could, a person could buy one of the type balls from Selectric, what is it called?
Electric Rescue.
Yeah,
Austin.
thank you. And just use a shore gauge on the side of the ball, not where the letters are.
Or the top.
Just
It
to
has a
test
flat
it.
top.
Yeah, on the flat top or something.
I could do that right now. Make
Oh,
Hey,
cool.
Ted could do that right now because we have the
Yeah.
technology.
Yeah.
So
We can
the
make it.
original ones are plastic. For the longest time, I thought they were metal because they're painted that way.
Yes, I think they're electroplated plastic. So,
Mhm.
yep. And
While,
so
while
anyways, my
Ted
little,
does that,
what's
while
that?
Ted does, I was just gonna say, while Ted does that, let me just say it was absolutely amazing meeting you, Joe.
Well, it's not as amazing when I wake up in the morning and look at myself in the mirror, but I'm glad you were amazed by me. I was very much amazed actually to meet you and your wife. It was very fun. And she looked kind of starstruck, or is she just a quiet person maybe?
She's a quiet person, but
Yeah.
she was actually starstruck because she's seen your videos and
Oh.
she loves your voice.
Well, I didn't mean me. I just meant like the whole experience, and maybe Ted. She would have been starstruck for Ted.
Well,
I would
maybe a
have been
little
the same
bit, but
way.
she's seen some of your videos, so she's more familiar with you. So she was actually starstruck with you specifically.
Well, it's funny as you guys walked in the building, I was filming
Yeah.
Susan explaining about the ambassador, about Andre the Giant, right as you guys walked in. That was a good setup.
Yep. And we came through the doors, and I said to my wife, "Oh, look, there's Joe right there." Oh, yeah, that was fun.
I really like the venue of that place because you
Oh,
can't beat
yeah.
having a bookstore, a beer, wine, and espresso bar with snacks, and then a big meeting room adjoining it. That's like perfect for typewriter meetings.
Absolutely. Yeah. I see
Yeah.
Ted is back with his measurement.
Yeah, it pegs out the meter at shore 99 for the A scale.
And now, if I remember correctly, you had an electronic geometer with the changeable points for the B scale as well.
That's my micrometer.
Oh, okay.
I think it's Joe might have a digital one.
Maybe I do. Okay, hold on.
But I'm thinking that will read on the shore D as opposed to the shore A. It'll be 100 plus on the shore A, so we'll be off the scale.
So my gauge only has the one set of tips that came with. Oh, this is shore D. Okay,
Yeah.
let's see if I can. Okay, let's get a type ball in here. Let's zero this, okay. And then we will, let's see here. I'm reading 85.5, 87. And now this is the one that has the tiny needle-like
the point.
tip.
Yeah.
Right. So it is digging a little into the plastic, but it's around 85 to 88, maybe.
So getting close to the same hardness as a hard hat.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then you could resin print your hard hat, maybe, huh?
I wouldn't trust that.
No.
Yeah, I've been using these electric elements pretty much constantly since I got them, and I've not had any problems with them.
Nice.
Like no chipping or anything. So they're pretty durable.
Yep. I can attest to that. And also because my Selectric 721 also has I have a Burroughs multi-strike film ribbon in it currently, courtesy of Kevin. Those are kind of hard to find on the used market, but it still works. And now I can get a nice clean imprint with that tiny Vogue 12 typeface, which is a little sloppy of an imprint on a cloth ribbon, normal cloth. But
yeah,
it's nice and sharp with the multi-strike film.
I have a new old stock cloth ribbon on my 721, and it actually prints pretty nice on that, but that's a pretty old ribbon.
Okay. Yeah, I'm using a Baco on mine and it's nice and wet, so it may be a little too much ink.
Yeah.
Or as Kimberly Sarakuski would say, a nice juicy ribbon.
A nice juice ribbon, that's right. Yeah, and maybe one of those cheapo Amazon nylon ribbons might work fine for that, you know, on a Selectric.
Yep.
But let's see, I was also thinking, what was I thinking about? Someone had a question for me about, last night we were talking about the Brother type ball typewriter that Sears also
Larry
made.
Personnel.
Yeah. And I remembered I actually had one of those machines someone gave me. And the problem with it was I could never get the impression to be, it was always shading on the bottom, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And I never could adjust the tie ball element to raise up or to lower. And I never could adjust the carriage to raise so they would be aligned. So I never could find an adjustment for it. And I didn't want to use up the one cartridge I had, so I was testing it with carbon paper as an alternative. But I eventually decided that it wasn't worth working on anymore. So that's one of the few typewriters I've actually thrown out. But
well, I just got one at the rummage sale down at the church, and they were going to sell it to me for $1. It was regular at $3. And then when I went to the last day, it was $1.50, and I said, I can't just pay $1.50. I'm just going to give you the $3. And as I walked out, there was another type ball in the like free box. Okay. And I was like, what is this doing in here? And then a bunch of those, the white correction thingies, and a little card in there that someone got graded on their typewriting, whatever. And the name was Brenda written on this card. And I was like, oh my God, this is so weird. Yeah. And then, so when I got it, so it was funny. So I told the ladies, I said, could I plug this in and see if it works? And she goes, yeah, that's fine. So I plug it in, I turn it on, nothing happened. She goes, here, let me hold it level. And I said, that isn't going to make any difference, but okay, go ahead. And nothing happened. I thought, well, I don't care. I'm going to take it home anyway. I get it home, and that thing, I plugged it in, and I don't know if it was the heat from it being turned on. That sucker was just going by itself, just going across and jamming. And I was like, oh my God. And I shut it off, and I waited a couple minutes. I turn it on again, and I thought, oh my God, what is happening? And I shut it off again. I'm like, okay, this is crazy. And eventually, after I touched the space bar and like some of the keys, the thing started working, and it works fine now. I couldn't believe it. So I did go on eBay, and I found a script type ball for like $8, and I have that. So I have three type balls for it. It's really neat, and there's a lot of the carbon on the cartridge, and I've got several of the lift-off tapes, which I think that's just really cool. So you guys really think I should get my IBM Selectric fixed so I can get those type balls, huh?
Absolutely, because that little brother is going to last you just as long as that ribbon lasts you.
Crap out on me, right?
yeah,
So I won't be able to find ribbon. Yeah.
So last night, Larry showed us he had some of those ribbons for the Brother he bought off a seller, but they're not. You can't get them from any new ones anymore. You have to buy them used or new old stock.
That's why I thought I don't even know if I should even waste my time getting it, because unless you can re-spool it with cloth ribbon, the cartridge, I don't know. But
you
probably not, because it's got a correcting sort of mechanism on it, so it won't work.
Also, it's a single pass only. So like the 721 Selectric has a reversing mechanism for the spools built in.
Well, I think this, and I think it does use the whole tape when it does type. It does use it. It doesn't just go on the top of the tape.
Right. It probably goes up and down like the electrics.
Yeah, but it has all the paperwork. It has the check the person wrote for. It has the carbon. I found a box of carbon, copies or whatever in there, out there, and you can hold it up to the light and you can read the letters that they wrote to
Oh,
their
nice.
people for
So-
Christmas or something.
So this is the machine that has a moving carriage, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the type all element doesn't ride on a rail. It just stays fixed and tilts up and down and rotates. And the
Yes.
paper is on a carriage, right? So,
Yeah.
so I mean,
Yeah.
there is an advantage to that, like we were talking last night, because it doesn't have those tapes like the IBM. You have to be able to
Oh,
control
yeah.
the ball, but also move it back and forth. So they have
Right.
those flexible tapes that control it. Where this one, the ball mechanism is fixed in one location. So it doesn't have that. So it may be in some ways there's maybe more
Better.
reliability, but it's also built
Right.
completely different. So we don't know what the other design weaknesses, if there are
Exactly.
any, anyways.
Exactly.
Well, that's good, Brenda. I look forward to seeing that typewriter and seeing how it works.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I haven't really used it a whole lot because if you're going to use it, you better make it count because it's not like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but it's neat. It's got all the manuals with it, and just for $3, I thought, I might as well just get it and
Yeah,
see what
play around
happens.
with it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I did manage to score a blue carbon ribbon on eBay for my. Well, the one I have is a Sears corrector sphere, I think, as opposed to the brother corrector ball.
The brother. Mhm.
But it's the
Same
same thing.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, someone's selling the symbol type ball on eBay for $29, and I said no. And then they
Good for
offered it to
you.
me for 27, and I still said no.
No.
No, they're holding it hostage. Okay, just sell it for $10, like everyone else selling all the other ones for $10. Oh, it's so annoying.
All right. Joe, was there anything else new with you?
No, there's nothing really new with me. I'll be breaking in to show you my little 3D printed thingy once
Yes, please
it's done
do.
before the
Please do.
show ends here. But anyways, thank you.
Oh,
Excellent.
you're
Thank
currently
you.
printing.
Thank you. All right, Rich, thank you for your patience. I know you brought in that typewriter for us to see, and Sean is still here, so he can see it too. So yeah, take it away.
Unmute there first. Yeah,
Yeah.
no rush. I was this listing is good, but Sean, this is 1938 Corona Silent.
Ooh.
I don't know if you can read that.
That is,
United States Army. Yeah. Nice.
hey, Rich, you probably don't want that anymore, and I'd be.
Yeah, it's I don't know that the Army, they didn't I worked in program management, so I hope I don't use but they didn't order any to be made for the Army. I think these were COTS, during World War II, just commercial off-the-shelf purchases. And so I don't know that they had an inventory of typewriters. I'm not sure about any of the services actually, but I know some of them you can find the naming on them. So I'm not sure what's up with that, why some places had that on their typewriters and many others didn't. And I don't think there was a standard typewriter used by the military either. I mean, a normal common one. They just used what they could afford. I think when I was on active duty, I want to say we used Underwoods, but I don't remember. It's just so many decades ago. But this is has an interesting problem, which I haven't completely exhausted looking into, but you'll see, let me point to one. Like where it says, where I've typed United States Army, is it backwards or is it just me?
No, you're good.
Okay.
Is it the
You'll see
smudging?
smudging underneath the
Mhm.
letters. And it actually types rather slowly. I can still type with it with all 10 fingers, but it's much clearer if I hunt and peck because I can put more force. And sometimes the letters don't move forward without that force. So when I was playing with it, I realized that it really only did that smudging when I had the selector switch on black. if I put it on, well, I guess in this case it's blue, but if I put it on red, then the smudging goes away. So I'm not really sure what's causing that. But of course, well, it only hurts when I laugh. Well, don't laugh, so I just use the red selector switch and there's no problem.
Have you, Rich, have you bent the little arm on your vibrator? Because I think it's just going up high enough that it sort of hits a bit the paper and smudges on the way back down. And there's a little arm that you can bend in that holds sort of the ribbon close.
Yeah, one of them's a little closer to the platen than the other one. So that maybe that's it.
Just nicely, if that's, it looks like the left one is doing that as it's going up, it's sort of smacking the ribbon against the platen.
Good observation, because it is on the left one's a little closer.
Yeah.
Dang, that was quick diagnosis.
Just
I'm impressed.
go nice and easy, and then just try again, and then just go a little bit easier. I mean, they're not obviously the strongest, but they're softer metal, so you won't, unless you're doing something really bad, they won't break.
Yeah, so now I may as well go ahead and get this thing all cleaned up so I can use it.
Yeah, get it all cleaned up so you can send it up here, and I'll take a look and give her a final check, and then I'll send it back to you. The only reason I'd like to have that is for just one picture. I've got a World War II field desk, a U.S. Army field desk, that typewriter would be perfect sitting in. And I just don't have the right typewriter yet.
I've got a picture of a typewriter in the Army field desk I have, and I don't remember if it's this one or it might be this Royal, the flat top Royal kind of thing, but I have to dig out that picture. I had the same idea you did. It was kind of cool. But now I've got some stuff sitting on top of that field desk and it's closed up. So reinventing the wheel.
Picture, just send me a copy of the picture. That'll be a lot cheaper than sending me the typewriter for me to take a picture.
Okay, I'll do that. That'll be fun.
That'll satisfy me.
Maybe I'll put it on Instagram or something.
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Yeah. Nothing else really new. I got my my Hemingwright back. I can't remember if I told you all that or not. Took
Yeah.
a couple of months, but it came back and I've been using it. I don't know whether it's my imagination or not. It's got one of those e-ink screens.
Yeah.
So it's not a real video monitor. I can't tell if it's lighter than it was before I sent it. It seems to me it should be darker, but I can't remember if it actually was darker or my imagination is making it think it's lighter, but I don't know if that had anything to do with anything. So that's kind of weird. Other than that, it works fine. Your prompt about the margins. So I use, like I did here. Normally when I do my journaling, it's on a half sheet of paper and I punch holes in it, six holes, so to put it in my binder. And the only reason I need a margin there is to clear the holes. And sometimes I don't even care that I clear the holes, as long as I'm cognizant of I'm coming up to a hole when I, hit it back, and then make sure I put a couple spaces so I don't start where the hole is. On the right side of those, and I do more journaling on these half sheets than any other kind of typing. I go as far as I can, and I'm not bent on. In fact, I do that because I want to get as much on a line as possible, and so I don't have a fixed set margin edge that I need to. Unlike Joe, though, I do use my margin selector. I guess I'm not a do-it-yourself guy, living on the margin, but I do use it more for the alarm than anything else, because sometimes I'll just start typing and not pay attention to the paper, and that tells me when I'm getting to the end, and it seems to come faster than I expected. But that's really, otherwise I just keep typing off the page and not realize it. So that's what I use for margins, and I don't have an official in my head what should be an official margin set. So if I'm typing a letter, I kind of I really don't use big sheets, maybe 3/4 or even this size, and I use whatever size minimum margin I can get away with, so I can get more text on it. I'm not sitting there with a measuring tool to see. with Ted's micrometer or anything like that, trying to see if there's enough space, So that's how I do the margins. And then on the top, I try to get as close to the top as I can so I can use as much space on the top as I can. And on this machine, it becomes a little more problematic because the bail comes down like this, and it seems to be in the way unless you pull the paper up to it. Whereas the ones that come up, they're not as much in the way, it seems to me, and so they're not really interfering if you're not using them until the paper's high enough to clamp it down. But I don't like these bails that come out towards you, because then you can't see over them either. So and then on the bottom, I use enough margin space so that the paper sits inside the typewriter without, getting all wonky. Otherwise, the objective for me is just to get as much typing on a sheet of paper as I can. And that's my story for margins.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Yeah, I've had a blog post or two that a little too close to the bottom, and so the line starts drifting down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I haven't bought any typewriters in good Lord, 4 months, 5 months, maybe more. When I just came across a couple. I haven't actually been looking for any. I feel I'm saturated, and it wouldn't be so bad if it was just typewriters, but I have several other collections going on. Like you can see one of them behind me. I've got about 400 war games I've been collecting for about
Wow.
40 years. And
Cool.
And same thing with my fountain pens. I've been collecting them since I was in my 20s. And so you get now these machines are unfortunately very bulky. And so, a few of these machines and it takes up space. So that's where my real saturation point is. And then it also gets to, I can't use them all. There's just too many. And what's really funny is I think the last time I was on here, I was talking to Roger about using, I can't remember the brand. Was it a Hungarian, the mustard colored typewriter, which he didn't like, and I thought it was okay. It's still set up and I still use it almost every day. And it's not the best typer I've got, but it works, and that's to me that's the main thing. If the thing works, I have a hard time putting it in the box and getting another one, and then fixing it, and hopefully it works. But a working typewriter is better. A working bad typewriter is probably better than a non-working good typewriter. So
That's true.
So, anyway, that's where I sit. I think I have 58 of them now, something like that.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how to pare them down.
None of us do.
I know, right?
You're talking to the wrong crowd.
Yeah.
That's right. Hi, my name's Rich and I collect typewriters.
Hi, Rich.
Hi, Rich. Welcome.
Oh, that's funny. All right. Well, it's so good to see you, Rich. And
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. We're just about at the end here, but we have a couple more people to say hello to. So, May, how are you doing?
I'll be quick because I know it's almost 3 o'clock. No new typewriters. Yay. That's a good thing. I'm at 59. So I need more time is what I need, not more typewriters. But I did get something typewriter adjacent. I got some new patio furniture and I made sure to get a nice low sturdy table. So when the weather drops down below 90 degrees, I can type outside. So in the next, couple of months, I'll be typing outside during our Typewriter Club lives. And thank you for the type in. That was great seeing your video and Joe's video. I felt like I was there. I feel like I know you guys already, but man, how wonderful it is to meet in person. So thank you for sharing. And I felt like I was there with you. I'm sporting Curry Russell typewriter surf camp t-shirt. Even though I didn't have time to participate in all the online activities, I still wanted to support. his neat thing that he's got going on. So I bought the kit and a t-shirt to help support our friend Curry Russell.
And you're
Yeah.
color coordinated again.
Yeah. Yeah, blue is one of my favorite colors, I guess. As far as the typing prompt margins, kind of echo what everybody else has said, with larger letter size paper, the standard 1-inch margins. And then with the smaller sheets, which I find myself liking more and more, I'd use the either 1/4 to 1/2-inch margins. Of course, you still got to keep 1 inch on the top and bottom, so it stays in the typewriter. And let's see what else. Oh, apologies. There's always one person that hangs up the sequential letter sequence, and that person is me. And so I finally sent it off to you Saturday. So
Oh, good.
Getting it early this week. I'm sorry. I just had a bunch of stuff going on, and I actually started the letter twice, and then I just didn't like it. Do you guys ever do that? You start typing something, you're like, and you yank it out. And
No,
so this
everything
will
I
be
type is gold.
yeah. So third time was the charm. So I finally typed the third letter, and it turned out well. So you'll be receiving that. And
Yay.
other than that, I've been keeping the same typewriter on my desk, even though it's really an AV cart. I like to stand when I type. So this cursive, my first cursive typewriter, has been my favorite lately. And since I'm the only lady in the sequential group, I felt like I should write in cursive, right?
There
Because
you
nobody
go.
else did. I threw in some Spencerian script for you guys.
Ooh, nice.
So otherwise, that's it for me. Everything else in life is normal and good. And so thank you for having us once again.
Of course.
Yeah,
It's so good to see you, May.
Good to see you too, Gregory.
Hi, Anthony. Just a quick hi from me.
Yeah, Anthony. Good to see you, Mythical Ireland, Anthony.
Hello.
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 So
Yes,
just a
hey.
quick note for Anthony, because I was looking up some information on the spring equinox, all these different events that people do. And I happened to run into an article just on Google, Mythical Ireland, that you wrote about some place that has this tunnel, like cave. I can't remember. I'm sorry. I didn't memorize the name, but on the equinox, the sun shines through just right and goes all the way down the tunnel. So I came across that just on a random search looking for equinox events. So thank you for that.
That would be Cairn T at Lough Crew, which is probably about 5,300 years old.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Sounds like Indiana Jones where they had the.
It
the
did
stone.
look like.
So how are you, Anthony?
Good. Yeah. Sorry, I haven't been on any of the live streams lately. I've been very busy, which is great.
Yes,
So,
definitely.
So I got the notification on YouTube, but I said, sure, I might as well pop in and say hello quickly. So the main reason for that is actually to say exactly what previous people have said about the Phoenix type-in, that I watched the videos and I was like, oh man, would I just so love to be in the room meeting all those people. I mean, there's Gregory, there's Joe Van Cleve, there's Ted Monk, there's Susan Coover, there's all these
Bob,
famous
yeah.
Brian Good, of course, Brian was the chief organizer, wasn't he?
Yes.
We don't have type-ins in Ireland. I mean, I could organize one, although I'm shocking busy. But I would say we wouldn't, we mightn't get 6 people at one of those, So
You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be surprised. You put it out there, people will show up.
Yeah.
Before we actually threw the type in, I mean, I knew a few people were coming, but nobody tells you they're coming until, unless they're out of state and they want you to expect them. But as far as the local people will just show up. It's amazing.
Yeah. Especially if you have a public place like a library or bookstore, where people are coming in anyway and they'll stop and in awe.
Yeah. The real danger is people are going to bring you free typewriters.
Brian was saying that advertising it in advance is very important. That he felt that was a huge factor in getting people there, was to make sure that as much notice was given of it in advance as possible. But it looked like a lovely event, and I'd really love to have been able to fly across the Atlantic and actually be there, you know.
You would have been welcome.
Oh yeah,
Someday,
I would love to
someday,
meet you.
someday. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
seriously, if you find a good place to throw it, like a library, or sometimes you'll pick a venue and they'll do a lot of the advertising for you. Like the library will put it on their calendar and
Oh yeah,
promote it through city, various city ways they've got of newsletters and stuff. So if you give them enough advance notice and you work with a good venue that's going to do a lot of that advertising for you, you're going to pick up a lot of people that you just didn't even know were there.
Yeah.
yeah.
I have a good relationship with the library here in Drogheda, so maybe that's the place to do it,
You can at least ask.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
can only say yes.
Yeah.
So just to say quickly to Joe, I've been watching your video output has been incredible lately. And I just have to say, I'm
yeah.
just enthralled. It's like almost every day it seems there's a notification. Joe Van Cleve has uploaded a video, And
Well,
it's brilliant.
this is what happens when you retire and you don't have a job.
I'm ready to retire.
Yeah, well, it's great. Well, your retirement is to the benefit of us all, I think. So,
Agreed.
long may it continue, and a happy retirement to you.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And hello to Susan as well. I saw Susan in the video at Phoenix. I was just saying, Susan, I'm very jealous watching from Ireland. This event, I'd love to have been there. Maybe someday. Next year, maybe.
You can always tell us you're coming to the United States, pick a city, and we'll have a type-in for you.
There you go.
We're gonna have a type-in in honor of our special guests from Ireland. See?
Do I have to bring a typewriter?
Just an ultra portable. I took three typewriters to the Phoenix type-in. So I didn't take very many because I knew Ted would have a table full, and he did. And Brian, 2 tables full. So there was plenty of typewriters there.
Yeah, it looked great. I like that monster of a Hermes.
Oh yeah,
the
giant
Andre.
Yeah.
Gregory, what type? Sorry, go ahead.
Apologies. Sorry.
Oh, I was just wondering what typewriter Gregory brought because I don't remember seeing your typewriter, Gregory.
Well, it was in my trunk.
You never brought it out.
Yeah, because so the plan was to walk in without the typewriter and just get the lay of the land and find a place for it. Well, I walk in and everything's full already, so I was like, okay, well, that's great. They have plenty of typewriters. I kind of feel bad that I didn't bring it in because it's the Olympia Splendid 33 that was serviced by Sarah Van Allen, and she got it to like immaculate condition, and it's just a pure joy to work on or to type on. And so I kind of feel bad now in retrospect that I didn't take it out, but I was focused first on meeting famous people, Joe and Ted, and then just hoping to stream. I was kind of in that mode of wanting to stream, which didn't go all that well, but there's some good footage in there. And then so I was glad I was able to go back and get some good footage. So but yeah, an Olympia Splendid 33 sat there in my trunk from the Netherlands, by the way. So it had a lot of the diacritics. And if you want to see a type sample, it's on my blog at poortypist.com. So yeah, you can see that there. Yeah, but thank you for asking. Yeah.
But I forgot to mention Bob Marshall was there as well. I mean, what a lineup.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
A room full of really cool typewriter people,
Yeah, someone took a picture. It had Bob, Darwin and Bill Wall, like standing there.
yeah,
They
he
were
was
all
there.
wearing like the same colored shirts. I thought it was hilarious. And then sitting in front of them was Joe, and I was like, wow, this is like an epic photo here. Yeah, pretty cool.
Celebrities in the typewriter world, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Rightly so.
The typewriter
only-
Illuminati.
The only two celebrities that were really missing were of course I'm gonna draw a blank on his name now. Our friend in Ohio, the author
Richard Polt.
Richard Polt, thank you. Oh my goodness. Richard Polt and Tom Hanks. Those are the only two that were the celebrities that were missing.
Yeah,
So,
if we could get
but
Tom
Joe-
Hanks to type in, wow.
Joe Van Cleve is a bigger draw than Tom Hanks. in
there you
fairness.
go. There you go.
For me, I'd rather meet Joe than Tom Hanks.
Joe is awesome.
Wow,
Joe's
that's
dead.
saying a
Given
lot.
the
you know?
choice, yeah, given the choice.
Give
Yeah.
them a choice. Wow, that's amazing.
Just
So I
to
got
be-
that going for me, which is nice. To quote Bill Murray from Caddyshack. So
Yeah, Joe is probably one of the nicest people you'll ever meet.
Yes, he is.
He is awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Look at you
Definitely.
blushing.
From a distance.
yes, you know.
I can tell from 3,000 miles away.
Yeah.
So very quickly, Greg, just to mention the two machines that have arrived in recent times. Both of them arrived free. One of them was a pristine IBM Selectric 3, correcting Selectric 3, which had been in use until recently, so no servicing required. Fabulous condition, like new, writes like a dream. And the other one was the Imperial 66, which was literally rescued from the dump and left here at my house by a friend who said, here, you might be able to do something with this. And
Wow.
miraculously, I think I've had some posts about it on Facebook and a video about it on YouTube. And it's become my favorite manual typewriter. It's fantastic.
Right. Free.
Free, not a cent.
Anthony,
Trash to treasure.
is that one still in its original metallic green?
The Imperial?
Yes.
Yeah, you'll have to forgive me. I don't know what color it is because I have a red-green deficiency color blindness. Hang on, play.
It is green if memory
It
serves.
is
You
green.
had that video.
Yeah, hang on till I just apologies for this. Yeah, I don't know. Is that green? Is it?
It's that kind of army green type color.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you couldn't press the keys down. The thing was so gummed up. You couldn't press most of the keys down. They were all coated in like an inch of dirt. I mean, it was just in appalling condition. Is now typing like a dream.
Nice.
You know?
Is it a standard size or a
Yeah.
portable?
Yeah.
Yes.
Standard. Yeah. Oh yeah, I can see it now. Very tall. Very good.
Is very
If I'm not mistaken, the original Imperial standard was the 50, and then there was like a 55, and maybe a 58 and a 60, and this was like the latest in a long line of iterations. And there's even, I mean, you probably know this, but there's two switches here, and when you press them, this whole type unit slides out.
Yeah.
So that you can access, you know, the basket, etc. You know, but and it's still a bit grimy. I mean, it's got a lot of cleaning. And it's still a bit dirty, but I absolutely love it.
Anthony, that thing has only got 10 fractions. I can't believe it's got so few.
And the ribbon drive on that machine is quite the system, isn't it?
Well, yeah, well, that's the only thing that's cropped up as an issue since I got it, is that the ribbon doesn't always advance when you're typing. And I think I figured out what the problem is. It's not actually related to the mechanism. I think it's related to when you release the carriage and you let go of the carriage release, there's a little bit of play here. So there's you know that there's a rack with teeth in it at the back that you know, when you release that, it lifts it, and behind and underneath that is a rail which touches this wheel that's on a rocker, and the wheel activates, the rocker switch activates the clutch for the ribbon advance system. And what seems to be happening is that as you type, the rail is sort of lifting a little bit up off that rocker switch, so it's deactivating. The temporary solution has been to put blue tack in the clutch mechanism to make it stick, you know, to make the clutch engage. But the downside of that is I no longer have the tab, because when you press the tab, it disengages the clutch. Now, that's not a big deal for me because I don't use tabs really. I don't have much use for them, so it's not a big deal. So that's the only thing. And maybe I'll be able to fix it at some point, but after hours of studying it, I couldn't really get to the bottom of it, other than the fact that there's a little bit on this side that's not on this side. On this side, this one's very solid, but on this one, there's like a little bit of play. And I noticed underneath that there's just the tiniest bit of movement in the rack, and then the rail, as I said, that sits on the rocker. So I think that's maybe the issue, you know. So
I worked on a 66 a year and a half ago for a friend, and what I found is that the reversing clutches on either side of the type of the ribbon drive would not engage because they were sticky, and had to remove the type basket assembly and lift the carriage off and remove the lid to actually finally get to the twin shafts with universal universal drives on them, and the various right angle gear mechanisms actually get in there, flush everything out, clean everything up, and then get them lubricated so the clutches would actually engage and disengage. It's quite a complex system on that machine.
It is. And in fact, that rocker switch was very gummy and required flushing and lubricating. And now it's really free. It's actually really free. So that's not the issue. And I did clean as many of the inner cogs as I could. And as you say, the right angle and all of that. It is complex. But the beauty of it is I could manually move the drawband, and I could see when I engage the clutch, I could see that the ribbon is advancing and the mechanism is entirely working. So I do reckon it's this right-hand carriage release. There's a little bit of play in it, and the spring mechanism that sort of makes it sort of come back up again. The spring looks different on that side than it does on the left side, in that it looks as if it has been, the spring looks as if it's been bent slightly. You know, and it looks as if it doesn't have the same, as it were, the same power or force as the spring on the left side. But the main thing is that because I don't really use tabs, it really doesn't, it hasn't bothered me. And I think Rich was saying, and several others, I am the sort of typer who I use very narrow margins, and I use single spacing most of the time, sometimes line and a half, but mostly I like to get the maximum value out of the paper. I usually get around 900 to 1,000 words on an A4 sheet of paper. So the tabbing thing, I don't use it for columns or anything like that. So not having it, I'm not missing it. And of course, on some of the portable machines, I don't have tabs. For instance, the Olivetti Valentine doesn't have a tabulator, so I'm not really missing it, you know. Other than that, it's performing like a true warrior. And it was quite clear to me from the amount of cleaning that it required and the fact that the keys were so jammed up, it looked to me as if it hadn't been used in a long number of years, possibly several decades. And now it's working probably as good as it did the last time it was in regular use, which might have been the 1960s, maybe the 70s, you know.
Wow.
But it was in the dump, ready to be taken away, melted down, and turned into razor blades. You know.
Wow.
Nice
You know, I
save.
have to say, you've come a long way, Anthony.
Well, yeah, that's thanks to you guys too, because I've received, I mean, as I said, from watching Joe Van Cleve's videos, Dwayne the Phoenix Typewriters videos, from accessing Ted's website regularly, I've learned so much over the last few years. And one of the things that I've learned is it's actually easier to service and clean and repair a lot of the issues with typewriters, like, than you might think. If you have the interest and a little bit of patience, it's really, really rewarding. And this has been the most rewarding of all. The amount of problems that this typewriter had when it arrived, and to get it working within, I think it was within 24 or 48 hours, I got it working, and it was typing, and I put a new ribbon in, and it's a great feeling, and it's a nerdy thing, I know, because there's some people who say, does he really get excited about using probably this one, the serial number, Ted, there aren't many of this model on the database. It starts with 6 Echo, and I think 6 Delta, 6D is 1957, and then the next one in the sequence I thought was 6F, 6 Foxtrot, and I think that was 1960. So I'm imagining maybe it's chronological, that Echo falls somewhere between 57 and 60. I wasn't sure whether that was the case or not. But anyway, it seems to be that era, late 50s, perhaps around 1960. And a real beauty, a beast, heavy beast, but built like a tank, as they say,
Yeah.
No, let's see. What model is it?
It's an Imperial 66.
And you said the serial number started with what?
6E, 6 Echo.
Yeah, that would be prior to 1961. What's the full serial number?
6E 28143. Yeah, 28143.
Yeah, that would probably fall depending on when our numbers are. If it was December, then it would be 1958.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's
1958 is marked 6E 3001 or 30,001. So you would be right before then. So if it's a December number, it would be actually somewhere in December, probably it was made.
Wow.
Hmm.
That's brilliant. I'm delighted now to hear that. So that's great. Yeah. And it was made in Leicester. Well, I think you probably know about the Imperial, very interesting story about the Imperial Typewriter Company and how it all ended up going south in the 70s when some of their Asian employees realized they were being paid less than their white-skinned counterparts. And there was a major strike, and Lytton, who owned them at that stage, a few months later decided to up and move the whole operation somewhere else. So they all lost their jobs,
Yeah. British unions.
Yeah. All right. Well, unfortunately, we do have to finish here. Yes, because we're a little over now, and I need some lunch. But yes, it's been wonderful seeing everybody, and yeah, we will see you next time. So it'll be the second. Yes, 2 weeks. Yes, the third Sunday of the month. So yeah, so thank you so much, everybody, and we will see you then.
Have a great week,
Gregory.
Bob Marshall.
Bye.
Hello, Bob. Hello, and goodbye to Bob Marshall.
Hello, goodbye.
Hello, bye.
Happy typing.
Bye,
Bye bye.
Have a good one, y'all.
Thank you, you too, Bob. We'll talk to you next time, okay?
Sure.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Gregory. All right.